Back from the West Coast.
What the
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah, right.
Welcome to the show, you sweet.
I should be saying, it should be, no.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tires Studios, 617-779-0985. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. If you would like, you can watch us on YouTube every morning. You search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and then you smash the subscribe button.
I've already subscribed. I'm logging on right now. I'm going to say good morning. Oh, look at them. Oh, people watching already. Hey, good morning. All caps, exclamation point.
By a lot, I am going to guess there are 100 people.
90. Yeah.
Hey! Yeah.
95. Just look at that ticker.
95 people. Well, that's a very loyal 95 people. So God bless every 95. Every one of you 95. So you know what I am? If nothing, if I'm not riding the crest of popular culture and media. And I have to tell you, everyone's going, baby reindeer, baby.
Yeah.
Watch Baby Reindeer. Now, first of all, I have very little attention span anymore. Like, it's very difficult for me to sit down and consume any, and I'd even say a 45-minute show is long-form entertainment now, which is really sad. Like, I can go to the movies and watch a movie, but watching a movie at home for me is almost impossible without picking up stuff and, like, looking at my phone, looking at the computer. It's very difficult for me. And I put on... so I watched Baby Reindeer. I watched the first. Don't worry about the phone, Nick. That phone is fine. You get out of that room as fast as possible. The phone rings. The phone rings, and Nick had to leave. If you don't recall, Nick was in that room on Friday. He might have been in that room, Dan, for 15 minutes out of the 4 hours we were here.
Didn't see much of Nick on Friday.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to just, please, when Nick leaves, just go, what are you doing? Don't judge him. Just go, what are you doing? And then keep a tally of everything he says he's doing during the show.
See, I don't understand. You just told him don't worry about the phone, and now he's answering the phone. Were you being sarcastic?
That was sarcasm.
You did want him to worry about the phone.
Yeah, that was the way I am.
Okay.
I didn't want to confront him head on. I was a little bit of a puss. So Baby Reindeer. So I go and I watch the first 2 episodes, and like everyone else, I go, oh, like the stalker, this is interesting. I wonder who the stalker is. So you do a little research. I found her Facebook page, which is now down. It was definitely her Facebook page because the Facebook messages where she defended herself were written exactly like the messages that were put in the Baby Reindeer film. And then I saw as much of the Piers Morgan interview as I could watch before I was just like, wow, this woman's insane, and everyone else. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting, the Baby Reindeer about the stalker. So here we go. We fast forward until episode 4, and I see what happened, and I go, why is everyone concerned about the stalker? Why is everyone concerned about the stalker?
Why
The stalker is not doing anything so bad. The stalker is, hanging around. He goes after the guy's lady, but, just a few minor scratches after the fight. I haven't seen it all, so I can't spoil it. But there is a great deal amount of forced sex from man to man.
I was going to say, I don't even care what the gender are. The gender is, let's focus in on the rapist. Yeah, maybe have a little more outrage and curiosity as to who that guy is and whether or not he's ever been, called to the carpet, so to speak.
Well, first of all, that's very big of you to not put gender into this.
Thank you, Fred. Yeah, and what that is,
I was walking a tightrope by saying it was male on male sexual assault.
Yes.
Thank you. Because by saying male on male, it was inferring that that's the only kind of sexual assault that's bad. Thank you for taking care of that.
Is apologize.
I will.
Okay.
I will very shortly.
Okay, good.
I will do that. But if you don't know, I won't give a lot away because I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen it. It's not one of these things that it's not, 10 years ago where people watched everything at the same time. But Baby Reindeer, just to let you know, it's a popular show. It's part of the zeitgeist. This guy, it's his real story. He's a comedian, and basically a woman stalks him. This is all real. He uses like real messages from her, and that's kind of the background of the story.
Yes.
However, by the way, this is all supposed to be based on real life. He says it's all based on real life. There in episode 4, it goes back to when he goes to the Edinburgh Comedy Festival and he meets this bigwig London television producer, and the guy drugs and rapes him. And so everyone's been doxing this woman, this stalker, and I always went, oh, well, why would, maybe it's not nice, you shouldn't dox the woman. But then I was thinking, like, why not? Was harassing the guy, everyone should know who she is. And then I saw the scene with the drugged rape, and I went, why is everyone focused on this stalker? And so immediately I went to the computer and I tried to find who this gentleman is.
Yeah.
And it turns out that people had been speculating who it was, and the guy who wrote Baby Reindeer, performed Baby Reindeer, produced Baby Reindeer, whose life Baby Reindeer is based on, said, oh, no. Don't look for the people that this is based on. That's not what this show's about. Oh, that's not what the show's about.
You can't really have it both ways. You can't generate interest in this in part by saying it's a true story and not want people to find out more about the actual people.
Sounds like he didn't expect this to be popular at all.
Well, I don't know. Well, first of all, this guy's got balls on him. I mean, and seriously, like he acts in these scenes, and like he's, it's what happened to him is humiliating and everything else. So I give him a lot of credit for having the guts to put that into a show, like that terrible kind of stuff that happened to him. But the idea that you're going to show, I mean, it's a 45-minute episode, John, of like how the guy gets him into his life, how the whole thing evolves.
It's called, to use a vernacular that you're familiar with, grooming.
Yes, I do. I have a manscape.
No, Wallach. It's with the
He
plumage.
was talking.
That was a bird joke, and I didn't catch it. I thought you meant me.
You missed it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was several scenes later in the show where he picks ticks off of his feathers. One of the things the guy would do is he would drug the Baby Reindeer guy, chew food, and spit it into his mouth.
That's right. Now, Fred, I think you were not incredulous, but maybe skeptical that this show contained any LOL moments. When I told you I laughed out loud multiple times during the first 2 episodes. Did the same thing happen to you?
No, I'd already seen the episode when you said that. No, I didn't.
Okay. But you didn't LOL.
No, but I thought the joke he told at the Edinburgh bar the first time where he puts the outfit on, I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
I didn't think that was a funny joke.
Yeah, it was fun.
So there you go. That's my. And then he goes, "Don't look him up." Well, it's 45 minutes of this guy drugging and raping you, and it's based on a true story. And it didn't happen a long time ago. Of course, I want to know who this monster is.
Did you find out?
There's 2 guesses, and one of the guesses is this theater guy in England who looks exactly like the dude who played him.
James Corden?
No. James Corden. No. I think James Corden, there would have been a lot of red flags right away. No, this guy's got a beard, as you know, and everything else.
Oh.
No, but you know the guy's got like a red beard?
Oh.
The guy that everyone's speculating is worked with the Baby Reindeer guy, is in theater in London and television in London, and like it just could be him. It looks exactly like him.
Not a bust.
All right, I'm talking about this is not the appropriate time. Jesus Christ.
I'm not skidding, boo.
Not a bust.
I appreciate this path you set us down, Hardy. Thank you.
I'm remarkably
All
fat.
right, I'm changing the subject. Dan, go ahead.
Marty, how are those goal scores? You know, 3 scores because there can be.
All right, you're breaking up. Put him on hold. Nick, Jesus Christ, pay attention to the show. Put him on hold. Pick him up. See if his phone's working, and then if oh, jeez, Louise. Did you hang up on him, Nick? Dan did.
I put him on hold, and then he hung up.
Oh. He wants to bust my balls, I'm sure.
Dan, call back. Nick, I need you by the phones, baby. I know, but you weren't earlier. When the phone was ringing, you ignored it. I need you by the phones. Even if they never ring, I need you there. Like a hawk. Maybe John should answer the phones. It's in his nature. But you did get screwed on this PGA stuff. Kendra Middleton, the PGA Championships was this weekend, and Kendra Middleton was in here. You brought this up. You said this to me. You and I talked about this yesterday. The whole PGA Tour betting thing. I was reading a novel. I was on the beach reading books.
I understand.
But you were all up after that first round of 62. You're like, oh, they're going to set up the course. They're going to set it up so players can't shoot this again.
That's right.
And what happened?
Okay, I didn't get screwed. I was wrong. Kendra was right. Now, I was right enough in the players that I picked to do very well money-wise.
All right, let's have Dan. Dan is here. Dan, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So you just took my steam out of me, but I just wanted to make fun of Hardy for being way wrong and laughing at Kendra.
I did.
Oh, there's plenty. They're going to make the course so much harder. Well, maybe you should focus more on, I don't know, the law-abiding citizens of this great country and not convicts. And
yeah, there are several convicts.
He threw in a little Scottie Scheffler jab in there, too.
If you weren't listening on Friday, Scottie Scheffler was arrested going into the PGA Tour Championship, and this isn't playing radio. Hardy was wildly upset.
Well, I mean, it was an upsetting thing to see have happen, and I was worried about law enforcement officials as well as
a guy from
Scottie
Los
Scheffler.
Angeles. A guy from Los Angeles in the entertainment business reached out to me and was like, "Oh my God," he was acting like it was his own kid.
A guy in the entertainment, but what?
A guy who runs a agency in L.A.
Oh, well, it was very distressing. But I said this yesterday. As I'm
Hardy getting mad about Goff and Scott Scheffler like it's his own son is hilarious.
Yeah, you know
his
what?
bias for the sport is insane.
I didn't get mad until sanctimonious Bert Breer over here. Oh, Hardy, I think it's so funny how you think you actually know these people.
Oh, you were upset before that, but that really set you over.
Well,
the
that
top.
did set like. You know what,
That
Bert?
was the last straw.
Well, seriously, no, I think you do have a pretty good sense of who some people are, and everybody who was interviewed afterwards said the same thing. You pick all these guys out here on tour week in, week out. Scheffler is the last guy that you think is going to end up getting arrested, and these are guys that do know him. I think
every serial killer
spot on.
That's never been said about a serial killer or anyone else.
Yeah, we ate ribs with this dude, but we didn't have a clue. I understand.
I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer was the head of his local YMCA.
This is what I said yesterday on the highly rated Sports Hub Golf Club.
Oh, boy.
And I'll reiterate it now. My disbelief of this taking place didn't have as much to do with Scottie Scheffler. I just can't believe that any person would have knowingly, with a police officer attached to their car, knowing he was there, being instructed not to do what he was about to do, went ahead and did it anyway.
If it was Tyreek Hill, you would have thought of that same thing.
I would have thought, I'm like, what? How? How does that happen? So that's why I still believe that when everybody gets a chance to say whatever it is that they want to say, it's going to be true. As Scheffler said, it's like, no, I thought I was doing what I was told to do.
Oddly
in
enough,
that moment.
the body cam footage was not available to the media for the officer who stopped Scheffler. It was kind of strange the way that worked out.
Well, does that
I got to back Hardy up on that.
But does that normally come out right away, or does that take some time?
Usually it does, yeah. Usually they kind of find it quick.
I'll tell you this, is that if it was Kyrie Irving or Tyreek Hill. If it was not a golfer, first of all, people would have had the same. They would have said, "Let's not rush the judgment."
No. Same thing. Like what during the drag racing that was going on the highway.
Oh,
there in
I was
Houston.
there. I was my character, Michelet,
What?
at the drag race.
No. The guys who were drag racing the Kansas City Chiefs receiver when they were drag racing in Houston, like,
Was it the powder puff situation?
no. I just remember thinking, how does anyone do that? How does anyone just
Rasheed Rice, is that who you're talking
yes,
about? Yeah.
abandon their car on the highway? I don't,
Because
I don't believe it.
You believed it. You believed it. I was
I
here.
did not.
You
I
absolutely
can't
did.
believe when people do these things, no matter who they are. I find and look for the good in most people initially, Fred. Won't you join me?
No. All right, I will not. This is how I choose to live my life, full of hate and spite,
And
crushing my enemies.
And to that end, you know what Fred wants to talk about first in what happened last night?
What's
Not basketball, not what happened between the Knicks and Pacers, not what happened between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. He wants to talk about injuries. He wants to talk about people who are hurting. That's what he wants to talk about first. So
I
that's
want to
what we'll
talk
do.
about a local team. That is what's insane. Instead of a national, non-local
Not the
basketball
how about
association.
implications for another local team and who they'll be facing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Fred's like, no.
No. I mean,
I want to talk about who hurts so I can feel a kinship with them because I too hurt.
and then I made Hardy change my diaper. All right, so we'll be back. Hey,
Atkinson.
we'll be back in just a moment.
For the 6th time in 8 years, the Boston Celtics are going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
The Celtics.
Pick out corner 3. Al Horford.
The Pacers.
There's that quick 3. Got it.
The Eastern Conference Finals.
Jalen 3. Got it.
Tomorrow night.
35-footer. He drills it.
At the TD Garden pregame at 7:30. Game time with Grandy and Max Saturday. Presented by Amica Insurance. On your home for Celtics playoff basketball. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
All right. Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and now that we've had a couple days to get over the Bruins Game 6 loss on Friday, I think I can't imagine everyone now reflecting on it just says the better team won. I mean, that's a better team. But that team was put together, as I learned over the weekend, some from Matt McCarthy, who was very Bruins heavy. He did not go Red Sox.
Was he complaining about the Red Sox? What did he sound like?
He wasn't complaining about the Red Sox, and he actually was saying information I'm going to repeat now, so I don't want to I'm not going to make fun of him or tease him, I should say. But he was going over how Florida made their team and how Florida acquired Tkachuk, how they acquired the roster, and it was basically trades. They made bold trades.
The Tkachuk one was big during the season. I mean, coming off a President's Trophy, they made a huge trade to bring Tkachuk in, and it couldn't have worked out any better for him.
Yeah, they traded a 110-point scorer. They really did and to make themselves better for the playoffs. So, look, they're a better team. The Bruins are in a very interesting situation right now because they're clearing an assload of cap space. DeBrusk is done. Heinen's done. Obviously, Maroon's done. Van Riemsdyk's done. If you go to the defense, you got Forbert,
Grzelcyk,
Shattenkirk. They're all gone. There's a chance they could keep DeBrusk, but he would make a lot of money. But they're clearing up a lot of cap space.
You got almost $21 million in cap space.
But there was one thing that they were talking about this weekend that I thought was interesting. They're going to have to trade Linus Ullmark. He knows it. I guess he's a 16-team no trade now, down from 18. And the thing is that they're going to have to get rid of him to one of those 16 teams. I guess he doesn't want to go to the West Coast or to Canada because it's further from home, the West Coast, and I guess he doesn't care about playing in Canada. And they were like, well, they might you would like to get, because they don't have a first, second, or third in this year's draft. You'd like to trade him for a first-round pick. And to that I would say, oh, no. You're going to trade Linus Ullmark, and you're going to have to, I talked about this with Jaffe. You're going to have to, if you trade Linus Ullmark, which you have to, you will trade him, and they have to attach someone to him, to that trade, basically to get rid of the contract.
It was the David Backes deal where they sent Backes and a first-round draft pick. I believe it was for Andre Kasha. It was that kind of deal to make sure that Anaheim would take him.
Yes. So, yeah, you're not getting – and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope we look back and say I'm wrong, but looking back, remember how much I did not want Linus Ullmark? How I said this was a redundancy? Now, he did win a Vezina. And I took back my not wanting Linus Ullmark, but I said at the time, you had Jeremy Swayman, you have a young goaltender, he's not making a lot of money, he really wasn't making any money at the time, he's about to. Why? This is a position of strength as you're rebuilding this team on the fly. Why not save that money? And now it turns out.
Yeah, you're going to sign.
Of course.
Yeah, you're going to sign Swayman to a long-term contract.
Right. Yeah. That's the first order of
yes.
He's a restricted free agent. You got to give him a long time.
And you have the benefit of being able to take a victory lap on that by saying, it was, the wrong thing to do from the get-go. But like this entire season, it was just maddening to me every time they talked about the core of this team being their goaltending tandem. That's just stupid.
Yeah, I didn't.
The core consists of somebody who is guaranteed, virtually guaranteed, to not play half the time.
And also,
why?
If you're not going to use it in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. The goal is to win the Stanley Cup. If you make the playoffs, then you have an opportunity to win. Seeding doesn't really matter at a certain point. It really doesn't matter at a certain point. And obviously, Montgomery said it. He said, sometimes being on the road is better. He said it during the playoffs. He's like, sometimes being on the road is better. I mean, Jesus Christ, they lost at home. I mean, who cares where you're seated? Really? Unless there's some elite steamroller team, it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Build your team for the playoffs. You don't need 2 goaltenders in the playoffs. You just don't. It's too much money and too much of a luxury. I'm never buying that again. I leaned on the expertise of people, and I don't trust them as far as I can see.
More specifically, they were scared to play Swayman more than 40 or 45 games.
Well,
and now, obviously, seeing what you just saw in high pressure situations, I think he can handle 55 or 60.
Just play 55. Play in 55 games, be the 4th seed, and then go win the Stanley Cup. Xanadu, who we know rollerblading around with the Rider jersey and the glasses. Xanadu, your post-mortem, sir. The floor is yours.
So I'm going to say I'm okay with this one. I have walked out of the last 9 eliminations at the Garden, and this one probably ranks number 9. They overachieved this season, and partway through the Florida series, I was asking, how are these guys still playing hockey? Generally, teams get better in the playoffs, but not these guys. Assume they won this series. Assume they went deep. We're going to put this turnover machine against Draisaitl and McDavid in the Stanley Cup final. They were eventually going to get murdered. So our team identity this year was the goalies are going to bail us out. And that got us a Game 7 victory. That forced us a Game 6. But what was that going to do in the long run? It was just going to cost us some money and some more heartbreak at home. And I guess the final bit is that the capper on this season, at the very least, that pasta OT winner, that's really where this centennial season ended. And waking up on Monday, I can live with watching that highlight reel goal and saying, here we go. But the biggest issue, this thing just underscored how much they screwed up a year ago, that this team went deeper than last year's team. And now I got to figure out what I'm going to wear that for the next couple of months, because I can't wear any Bruins jerseys. Thanks for the airtime, and have a good day.
All right, Xanadu, you handling it very well. They were not as good a team. Go ahead.
If you listen to Jim Montgomery and Brad Marchand after they lost on Friday, there was no anger at all. It was, you know what? I'm really proud of what we accomplished here. Proud of what you accomplished. You got knocked out in the second round. This means to me that the team feels the same way that Xanadu does. They all realized that with the talent on that roster, what they did in the playoffs is about maxing out the talent they had in front of them.
Right.
There was no way they were going to beat. If it goes to a Game 7, they more than likely lose, and then they get wiped out by the Rangers. This team, I mean, you think about it. You lose Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci, and for the regular season, it didn't look like that mattered much. You were talking about, Zacha and Quell replaced that output, no problem. But when you get to this kind of situation, you are severely overmatched. The talent they were running out there against the top lines of Florida wasn't even close.
By the way, Zacha's goal in Game 6 was his first playoff goal ever. It was his first playoff goal ever.
Right.
So we know now. Now it's definitive. What you do in the regular season is playoffs are an entirely different game.
Just get in.
It does. I don't care what you do in the regular season. And in fact, if I'm them, Zacha is on the books for 3 more seasons.
Yep.
I'm trying everything I can to move Zacha.
You're not going to get anything for him.
I don't care. Free up some money. He's making $5 million a year.
This is one of those things where we thought this year they were going to start the rebuild, and they didn't. And then they started winning. So you're like, oh, okay. Let's see where this goes. But eventually, all those checks, all the debts are going to have to be paid. There's going to be a dip here. there's going to be
not really though, John, because they have a ton of cap money coming their way.
They do have a ton of cap money, but at the same time, I'm worried about Charlie McAvoy. I'm worried about what I saw in the playoffs, especially because I was waiting to hear yesterday how injured he was and what he was playing with. I didn't see any major injury that McAvoy was playing with. Watching him play in the playoffs, especially against Florida, was shocking to me.
Would you trade McAvoy? You could get a ton for him.
I wouldn't trade McAvoy, though.
Okay, because you said
because you can't replace McAvoy. I expected McAvoy to be a top 3 defenseman in this league. I expected him to be a Norris Trophy finalist, and while he's not that, he's the next step down. But in order for the Bruins to go anywhere, he has to play like a Norris Trophy finalist, and he fell far short of that.
So he wasn't.
You can't replace a guy like McAvoy if you trade a guy like McAvoy.
But that's my point: is that we can complain about McAvoy. He's making $10 million a year, so you could trade him. He's 26 years old. You could trade him for a lot.
Yeah,
like if you were worried about getting picks and everything else, if you wanted to young players and picks, like if you trade McAvoy. You're getting a lot, but I'm with you. I'm not trading McAvoy, so McAvoy's here.
I expected McAvoy to be that guy, and he wasn't during the playoffs, and that was startling to me because I had just gone along assuming that he was that guy.
I just don't want the Bruins to fall back into the trap of depleting their defensive core. They did it too much post-11 and post-13. When they started losing defensemen, or they weren't able to convince guys that they wanted to play here, whatever it was.
Yeah, the Boychuk loss was a big one.
Right, but this whole thing about the regular season versus the postseason, this is the other thing I want to. I got to keep reminding myself, their regular season was okay. It wasn't as good as we think. We look at the record and you look at how they did.
No, but they could have had a better record than Florida in the regular season if they didn't tank at the end. And then, but what I'm saying, Hardy, is that
they started 13-3.
No, I understand.
And that skews what their regular season really was.
But they looked like a better team, and they certainly looked like a better team in the regular season. They lost a lot of overtime games. They lost a lot of shootouts. Let's be honest, they were a better regular season team than they were in the playoffs. I mean, they barely beat Toronto. All right, when we come back, we'll go over the injuries that we mentioned and also
Brad Marchand with more pathological honesty. This is fantastic.
Yes, he's getting very old. He's getting very old. All right, we'll have that for you in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics are back at practice yesterday. They'll host Game 1 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow night. Kristaps Porzingis seen riding a stationary bike at the Auerbach Center. ESPN is reporting he's going to miss at least Games 1 and 2. Celtics play Indiana tomorrow night. Indiana took Game 7 from the Knicks yesterday, 130-109. Bruins cleaned out their lockers yesterday morning. David Pastrnak left last night to join Czechia in the Hockey World Cup today. In golf, Xander Schauffele wins the PGA Championship by one shot of a Bryson DeChambeau, and Rafael Devers homered again. Red Sox won in St. Louis yesterday 11-3 to snap a 4-game losing streak. They visit Tampa Bay tonight. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by WellPoint, formerly Unicare. They've teamed with Charlie Coyle, Mass State and local police, the professional firefighters of Mass, and Bruins Radio for face-offs for first responders. If you or a loved one are thinking about suicide, get free and confidential help 24/7 on the Lifeline Network. Just text or call 988-NOW. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Prius. Jack, go ahead.
Hello, boys.
Hi, Jack. Jack in the Prius, very loyal. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Fred. Hello, Robert. Hello, John. I have a problem with this, narrative that people seem to be, having, or, a majority of Bruins fans seem to have, where they're just, happy with the season. I'm not happy with any season that doesn't end in a Stanley Cup. I'm pissed off. The season ends and they don't win. I'm pissed. So, and I'm frankly, I want Montgomery gone. I want Ullmark gone. I want Lindholm gone. Get these guys out of here. How many times the Bruins got called for too many men on the ice 137 times in the playoffs, and they don't make any adjustments when another team is coming after them on the forecheck. Sorry, I'm so fired up I can't even talk. They went the last 9 games or 8 of the last 9 games of the playoffs without being able to move the puck at all, and it's because teams figured out their forecheck. And Montgomery, it's his responsibility to adjust to that. But these guys are coached to pass the puck up the ice, not to carry it up the ice. Well, when teams know that, they're just going to sit back in the neutral zone and clog up passing lanes, and this is why the guys have nowhere to go with the puck. Defenseman comes around the back of the net, and he's looking to pass the puck up the ice, but there's nowhere to go with it except there's all this open ice in front of them, but they don't take it because they're coached to not take it.
Yeah.
And it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah, Jack, talking to a few people that cover the team, I guess the belief is Montgomery's not the greatest coach, but it's the devil you have that they're not, who's out there is what the thought is. Is that who do you bring in instead of him?
That aggravates me when people will come back with that, where it's well, who do you want to bring in instead? And I'm not saying you're saying that.
No, I'm not saying that. No, and they weren't saying, I know how you're saying it. They're not well, who would you take? And then you go, I don't know who's the coaches. That's not what they were saying. They were being, honest about it. They were in their perspective, they're I don't know who you would get. They don't know if Montgomery's bad enough where there would be an obvious improvement hiring someone available is what they're saying.
But if
they're not challenging me, you know what I'm saying when I ask them?
And if you just determine that Montgomery, whether it's the too many men on the ice, whether it's the ill-advised offensive scheme, Jack, to me it was the defense and allowing these guys just so much time and so much puck possession time in the Bruins zone. If you decide that Montgomery isn't the guy, who's the next guy? I don't know. That's not my job. But sometimes it's enough just to determine that the guy you have isn't the guy.
Sure, but the point is, did he do a bad enough job? Because these guys cover hockey, so they said based on the coaches that they're aware of that would be available, are they an improvement over Montgomery? And they don't think and they're not sure. So if you're not sure that the guy you hire, you already did this with Cassidy. Are you? And Cassidy's probably a better coach than Montgomery, right? I mean, he won a cup.
Oh, he absolutely is.
Yeah, right. So you did this with Cassidy to Montgomery. If you do this with Montgomery into someone else, now here what we've done is we fired 2 coaches in a short amount of time. You're firing a coach out of a season. Look, I'm not happy. I was all pissed off when they lost Friday. I said there's a couple days to go over it. And, look, I'm still not happy about it. I mean, I'm pissed. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't think Florida's better. But here's the deal, is that if you get rid of Montgomery at this point, now there's a lot of upheaval in the organization, and you bring someone else in, and if he sucks...
Yeah, you had a taskmaster who you fired, then a nice guy who you fired with the same core, so where do you go from here?
Right, so that's kind of what the people that know way more about it than I do have said, is that, if you fire him this year, if you bring in another guy and he's no good, then you're going to be really screwed because now your organization's one of those... Thank you, Jack.
One other thing about Lindholm... I mean, look, I hated watching him play. He was terrible in the series. And remember, I was telling you guys the only way you know Lindholm is good is if you don't hear from him at all. He's kind of like an offensive lineman. Unfortunately, you heard a lot about him because he was terrible. And my lasting image heading into the offseason is him with the puck 15 feet in front of the net, wide open and passing. But he's got 6 years and $39 million left on his contract. You can't trade him. And he's got a no movement clause.
Yeah, he's got a no trade clause. No movement clause. Yeah, he's here.
He's here, man. You signed him long term. He and McAvoy are both signed through 2030.
Well,
they're both here.
McAvoy fine. Lindholm, that's a problem. And I guess we can use Lindholm as a jumping off point for the injuries that these guys were dealing with. Lindholm was revealed he had a knee injury that he got back in February, so he's been dealing with that for the last 3 months. Matt Grzelcyk, torn oblique early in the season.
But you can go fix it somewhere else.
Derek Forbert can go fix his both of his groins. Don't you just have one groin? It's just like one singular
left
groin.
and right.
No,
dumbass. 2 groins?
Yeah, dumbass.
Isn't it
You
all
have 2 legs?
Isn't it all connected?
I don't know.
Well, it's all connected to Jesus.
It all. He had surgeries on both groins and a thumb ligament repair. That's Derek Forbert.
Yeah.
Danton Heinen, lingering injury in the playoffs. I don't care for that ambiguity.
Well, he's gone too.
David,
Well, I mean, I guess
they'll re-sign him
for $750,000.
It'll be really cheap, and they'll re-sign him. He played all over the place.
Sure, if you want to
This
re-sign.
is a guy who was like hanging around waiting for a job at the beginning of the season. I mean,
let's put it this way, John. I don't think Heinen's getting signed today.
no, but the point is he's back here for cheap money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, all right, sure. Why not? If you want to get the guy in his late 20s,
Yeah. That's
$750 a 1-year deal for $750,000.
That's correct.
He better not be. He better be on the 4th line. I would hope that he's not talented enough to make to be above the 4th line. Go ahead.
David Pastrnak, groin issues.
Recurring groin trouble.
People are like Pastrnak sucked in the. I liked Pastrnak in the playoffs. I thought Pastrnak proved his toughness. I disagree with that take. I like Pastrnak in the playoffs.
But the problem is you pay him to score goals.
I know. But
yeah,
I thought he handled himself well.
He
in the
handled
playoffs.
himself just fine. He should show his toughness,
score.
but you need to score goals if you're him.
All right, so Brad Marchand returned to action on Friday night for Game 6. Now, Brad Marchand hit us with some pathological honesty on Thursday of last week when he said,
"That's part of the game. I mean, it's part of playoffs. People don't want to say it, but part of playoffs is trying to hurt every player on the other team. And the more guys you take out, the more advantage your team has." And
so that was pretty good. That was interesting. After the game on Friday, he talked about what he was dealing with, what kept him out of that series. And when he finally returned on Friday night,
I felt it right. I definitely pushed it, getting back. Wouldn't say I was upfront about how I felt.
I definitely pushed it, getting back. I wouldn't say I was upfront about how I felt.
Yeah, Fluto Shinzawa had an article about it. Yeah, if you don't know what he's talking about, Marchand had obviously a concussion, missed a couple games, and he was saying that he fooled them in what did he get hurt, John? Game 3?
Yes.
Okay,
game 3, he got punched at the end of the first period.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So game 3, game 3, right. He got that punched, obviously. And he was able to come back in that game because he fooled them. And then they took him out of that game, and then he tried to fool him a couple more times, and they couldn't. So good on the NHL. I guess that's a good thing for them.
Well, part of the problem is, and I don't know if they do this in the National Hockey League. I assume they do. They give baseline testing to all the players.
Yeah.
They give baseline testing to all the players, and what the players will do is mess up their baseline test, make it look really, really bad, so that if a situation like this comes around and maybe they're off a little bit, it won't be as bad as the original baseline testing, so the guys in the quiet room will go, oh, okay, you're fine.
They do that in the NBA, too. They have someone with the strongest baseline take their test so they can always have days off.
That's right.
Just by taking a normal concussion test, they fail.
Out again?
Yeah.
It's a back-to-back.
But Marchand was among those who said, no, they actually they had a good season.
It's disappointing, when you don't achieve your goal, regardless of where the expectations were to start the season. Not internally. I think internally we all expected to have a good year, but from the outside noise and kind of where everyone had projected our team to be, we grew a ton.
See, this is what I'm saying earlier. He knows. He knows his team wasn't nearly talented enough.
Also, if you're the captain and this is your role, I mean, do you put Bergeron and Chara, like they were good captains, right?
Yep.
I mean, especially Chara, who won a cup, right?
Yep.
Would you expect them after a season to go like that was terrible and unacceptable? I don't think that's your job as the captain. I'm sure people will take issue with it and go like, oh, well, it's not acceptable, which very well could be true. And no, it sucks that they lost, and they probably should have won Game 6. I mean, it was not a great goal. Swayman will tell you that won the game, but I don't think Brad Marchand's job as the captain, with this season being over, is to set up next season by laying down his team. Like you saw what Donovan Mitchell said about the Cavaliers, how he was upset about their effort and all these things. Well, he didn't play the last 2 games of the playoffs. So what do you want? I mean, like, if I'm Marchand and if I'm on the team and we've lost, and I know we've lost and it sucks, and my captain, who's going to be my captain next year, comes out and starts going, well, we were terrible, and that I feel he's talking about me. Right. And F you.
That's
like what'd you do?
That's not what I wanted. I wanted to, it's disappointing. We should have gone. I thought we should have gone further. Clearly, if there's talent, we're talented enough in this room. It's a missed opportunity. However, we grew as a team. You can always add that on at the end.
But now we're saying
there
perfection.
are some words that you can say where you can say, I'm pissed off. We need to go further.
Typical John.
I don't have any problem with what he said. I think you said it when he said it. The expectations on this team, he said, forget about those. No, I haven't forgotten. Your team was worse on paper at the start of this year than you were last year. And even though you should have gone deeper in the playoffs, I wasn't thinking playoffs for this team. After you lose Bergeron and Krejci, and you still got this ridiculous goaltending tandem, like, how did they get better in the offseason? They didn't. So the fact that they made it into the second round of the playoffs, I think that's what he's alluding to. He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
But
ultimately, he understands that this team isn't talented enough.
Obviously.
One more thing on Linus. He's excited.
My future here. I got 1 more year. I'm very excited about what's to come. It's going to be, I'm going to spur a heck of a summer. I'm very motivated, mixed in with some revenge, obviously, some inspiration as well, but most of all, excitement of what's to come.
I hate goalies.
Go away.
Hate goalies.
Just go away. Go away somewhere else. Don't be here.
It's not personal, Linus.
I just thought it was so funny.
I turned on goalies at some point.
I'm hoping we get a first-round pick. I mean, like, this is a former Vezina Trophy winner. Goalies don't get traded for anything normally. And second of all, I think, what did Jaffe say off the air? You might have to attach, like, Beecher to him to even get rid of him, to even get someone to take him.
Right.
So good luck with your number 1 overall pick for him, or your number 1 pick for him. I got news for you. You're not getting a second. You're not getting maybe if you attach Beecher, you'll get a 3rd round pick. By
the way, did you see the look that Swayman gave? I think it was Wotherspoon who was in front of him and kind of screened him on that game-winning goal with like a minute and a half left on Friday night, and it went through his legs. The puck was on its end.
Yeah.
Was it Wotherspoon who was standing in front of him?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either, but the look he gave him, like, dude, there's 90 seconds left. You can't. Why are you standing in front of me?
Yeah. He gave him a Mr. Roper. All right. By the way, if I didn't do it, our show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hardy has to pay the fiddler coming up.
More Toucher and Hardy. From the Town Fair Tire Studios, home of the Celtics, Bruins, Revs, and Patriots.
Touchdown, Patriots.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5. The Sports Hub, Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Celtics are out at practice yesterday in Brighton with Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals coming up tomorrow night at TD Garden. ESPN is reporting Kristaps Porzingis will miss at least the first couple of games of the series with his strained calf. The team wasn't giving the media any answers to his availability yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, Indiana beat the Knicks in Game 7, 130-109, and they'll be here tomorrow evening to begin the best of 7. Tyrese Halliburton's team won 47 games during the regular season, but they have reached the NBA's Final Four.
We knew our expectation was to get to the playoffs. We said that to our local media members all year. I mean, I know a lot of you guys didn't hear anything from us because it's not like we're covered early in the year.
Late last night, Minnesota won in Denver 98-90 to knock out the defending champions. They advanced to play Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. The Bruins players cleared out their lockers yesterday following their Game 6 loss to Florida Friday night. David Pastrnak got on a plane last night and flew back to his home country to represent Czechia in the Hockey World Cup. Jeremy Swayman repeated he wants to sign a long-term contract here, and Jake DeBrusk still hopes a new deal is possible, even though he admits he thought it would be done by now. At the PGA Championship, American Xander Schauffele fired a final round of 6 under 65, and that includes a birdie putt on 18 to win his first ever major by one shot over Bryson DeChambeau. And the Red Sox won in St. Louis yesterday 11-3 to avoid a 3-game sweep. They're a game under 500. They visit Tampa Bay tonight. Sports Up headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy and Brian Scalabrini at 1-800-GET-HAIR. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Hey, we're Toucher. Facebook, make every moment more with FanDuel, and you can watch us every morning on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and then smash the subscribe button. Sorry. That's what he does there. This is a sentence.
Yeah.
You know that?
I do. I put this one in here.
Yeah, I know, because I was bitching about the other ones you put in. So you did me a solid. This is, what did you put this in here? 15 years ago? I'm not lying.
Probably 8.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Well, if you don't know, if you weren't listening on Friday, as I deliberately mispronounce his name as my brain scrambles to come up with it, Scottie Scheffler was arrested.
Almost like he said Scheffler. He's still doing it.
No.
Did he say Scheffler?
Hardy thinks that I'm quick enough when I could read the TV in real time and like deliberately mess up a name while I'm trying to think.
Whatever you do, don't call him Scott. Don't call him Scott. Hardy gets really angry if you call him Scott.
So what happened is this animal gets arrested trying to be above the law going into the PGA Championship. And Hardy's first reaction, because he's white, was to go, hey, oh, no, you don't understand. Scheffler's a great guy. Have you ever met him? No. But like, you know, just like I'm sure so many people in the Middle East thought Osama bin Laden was a really good guy.
Right.
If you meet him, if you just sat down and talked to him.
That's probably the best comparison. Scottie Scheffler is more like Osama bin Laden than Mother Teresa. Yes.
He's more like Osama bin Wankin. But what was very funny about Hardy is in that I want this known before he does this. Hardy, and you saw this, John, and my friends were even reaching out. They thought it was great. The reason that we talked about Scheffler getting arrested for really an hour was not because it was of any interest to us specifically, but because it was really bothering Hardy. Not a joke. Hardy was putting his head in his hands off air. During Bert's segment, was frantically. I can't read what he has on the computer, so I assume he was looking for Scheffler information and not reading book reviews.
Correct.
I could see his screen just in my peripheral, just going crazy. He was locked into it. It really upset him. For some reason, a professional golfer getting arrested, his whole value system was out of whack.
It's not a value system. Here's what it is. Once again, golf, kind of like hockey in some ways, can't get out of its own way. And there's, I like watching the majors more than anything else. I thought this is going to screw up, watching, golf later on today. This was on Friday because Scheffler had a good, decent opening round, and he's in the hunt, and this is going to make it more interesting. But this is a sport that has just screwed itself so many times between the LIV thing and the Saudi money. And now they're bringing in Fenway, and they're bringing in these other investors, and players are pissed off at Jay Monahan. And they're lying to each other.
Who isn't pissed at Jay Monahan? I've had it up to here. I've been pissed at Jay Monahan since the Monahan fiasco
PGA Tour
of
president?
1998.
Is that right? Is he the PGA Tour president?
No, he was the guy that was. He didn't tell people there were still live shells over there in Germany.
I thought he was in that movie Less Than Zero. That wasn't Jay Monahan?
So if
he has a heroin problem, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Golf is a sport where you don't necessarily root for players as much as you just root for the sport.
Right.
Okay, you don't have a team, and you just want the
pray a minority doesn't win.
You just want the sport to do well.
Right.
And the sport is not doing well. And it was made evident by this fiasco of Valhalla, the one way in, the one way out. Everybody's stuck in traffic. A guy died, for Christ's sake. They can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, why did this stupid idiot have to die and screw up Scheffler in the whole tournament?
No, it had nothing to do with that gentleman other than may he rest in peace. And, of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, Fred. Try that one on for size.
Have you gotten on your knees?
Try having a thought or a prayer.
I will ask you this very seriously and lie at your own at your own cost.
Yes.
Did you get on your knees and pray for his family?
I did not.
Well, then you didn't give him thoughts and prayers, did you?
I just did.
No, but you didn't get on your knees and pray. Did you humble yourself before God and pray for his family?
Did you light
yes
a
or
candle?
no?
And to add insult to
every
injury.
time when someone, that's my new thing now. I'm going to do whenever someone says thoughts and prayers, I'm going to be like, did you get on your knees and humble yourself before God and pray for his family? And if the answer is no, I will say, well, you did not pray for him.
So
your prayers are worth nothing.
So this is why I was so distressed. I'm just like, golf. You just can't do it. You just can't do anything right lately. And to add insult to injury, Kendra Middleton was in
hang
here
on a second. You're burying the lead. Ben, go ahead.
I'm not burying any lead.
Ready,
I'm trying to do the
baby.
thing.
What's up, Benjamin?
Loyal.
Yeah,
Loyal,
baby.
man.
My
Family,
loyal
baby.
Benjamin. Love my loyal Benjamin.
I missed the part where did Hardy say he signed the online obituary with his thoughts and prayers? Did he send flowers yet?
I saw.
My Lord.
No, but I will look at the online guest book later. Yes.
Say his name, Hardy.
Yeah, who died? Say his name.
A vendor.
John Mills. Say his name.
John Mills. John Mills. John Mills.
Ben, isn't it odd that he cares so much about the dead person, but he doesn't even know the guy's name? He's so many thoughts.
Does the
and
guy
prayers.
even have a family? Probably not.
No, obviously not. I mean, he was basically just a speed bump in the way for the PGA Tour.
Ben, thank you for humbling me and reminding us about what's important. Thank you.
I love you all.
All right, Ben.
Especially Fred.
Yeah, that's right, because I don't rush you off the phone like Hardy. All right, so Kendra Middleton, you say. You're bringing her up, not me.
Insult to injury, you said.
Because
now everyone email Hardy about how in love with Kendra he is, because he just brought her up.
Out of all the this is what's so insulting about it. I can't stand her, but she was right. I think she was right more than she was wrong. And I already owned up to it yesterday on the Sports Hub Golf Club. Thank you for listening. And now we will go back.
Well, now we're just repeating what everyone's already heard.
Maybe it's
I did not play. I did not play this audio yesterday morning, so we'll listen to it now. This is what Kendra said on Thursday before the start of the PGA Championship. One of the LIV guys that still is interested in winning. You see the odds on Dustin Johnson?
Yeah.
Astronomical. You want to know why? He didn't care about winning anymore.
I think the live guys are going to do really well this week.
Okay. How did the LIV or the live guys, as she say, do this week? Well, Out of the 16 live players, 11 made the cut. 3 finished inside the top 30, which doesn't sound all that bad. Of course, notably, Bryson DeChambeau was the runner-up. He's a live guy. He did very well. How did everyone else do? Dean Burmester.
No need to name names, and I'm not kidding.
Tie for 12. Brooks Koepka, you know him.
Yeah.
Tie for 26th.
All right.
So the live guys did not do well, other than Bryson DeChambeau.
So, like, a majority of any kind of unders you can get, I think that this is a good course because a lot of these guys can drive the ball. It's not really,
Who are the other live guys that are going to do well this week?
DeChambeau, but, like, I feel like...
Hey.
DeChambeau came in second, you say?
Second. 1 shot back.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Hardy, he's so humbled now because not so much that it was his golf knowledge being put on blast, and he was so talking down and really just rude to Kendra.
Well, it's impossible not to be. I mean, she puts her phone down for 5 seconds and you get her attention. If you don't talk down to her then, she's not going to hear you. DeChambeau I took.
I kind of rode him a lot for the Masters. And then for my sleepers, I'm kind of going, I don't hate Morikawa plus 3,000.
That was a pretty good one, too. Yeah. That was a pretty good one. I had Morikawa also. Now, he fell off horribly yesterday. He didn't make a birdie on the final round until the 18th hole yesterday. But
17 pars and 1 birdie.
Yeah, Morikawa was very good up until the final round. Thank you.
And a lot of people are on Cam Young plus 45.
All right. Well, where did Cam Young finish?
I don't know. Just keep going. Keep going to the part that matters.
All right. Wallach's going to look up Cam Young.
I am. I'll look him up.
No one cares
for you.
I care, and Wallach cares enough to look it up. Okay, I did not do any Cam Young. Colin Morikawa, I also like for the U.S. Open because of how precise he is.
I think that this course could get a little out of hand. We could get, maybe some guys hitting up to close to 20 under. That's what I'm kind of looking at for this hole.
And what did you say to her when she said someone could be 20 under?
I don't know. The audio cuts off.
What'd you say?
Situation this weekend.
Not a chance they get to that number.
I don't know.
Not
Hardy.
a chance.
Hardy with his little golf show.
Yeah.
In his fun golf hat.
I think the word you're looking for is dismissive. I think that's the word you're looking for here.
Such a vile and dismissive. His sexism oozing out. Oh, who are you to tell me, woman?
You're a chick. What do you know about golf?
Yeah. It's mostly a misogynistic thing. It really has nothing. It really has nothing to do with
your
white-splaining
to all the people about, how Scheffler's such a good guy and you could never have done anything to you. Just
white-splaining?
Yeah, I just made it up. Between that and then you're attacking Kendra.
I think we could see some 17, 18 under.
They got a 250-yard par 3 on that course. It's not happening.
All right. I'll see you next Thursday. I know where you'll be.
Lots of 4s on that hole.
Listen to him. Because he knows no one cares, so he thinks he can just say whatever he wants and talk down. Because he knows no one that listens to us is watching
and
it.
you only care when I'm embarrassed and humiliated.
I didn't even know what you said. You're the one who kept bringing it up. I don't even know what you said.
You care.
I don't care. I think it must be humbling to you to have to bow to a woman who you obviously
have great disdain for.
Just great disdain. I can't believe it.
I can't believe they got to that number. And it wasn't just the course being soft on Thursday and Friday. She called it. That course was so gettable, and those Schauffele especially got it every single day.
I will say 2 things about Kendra, and you're the one who brought her up. You're the one who wanted to do this. I just want the listeners to know because they're going to go, you're saying this. No, Hardy wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Kendra nailed the draft.
Yeah, with Bo Nix.
Well, she had a bunch of things that she got right in the draft, and she got the effing PGA Tour right. So, in my mind, she's justified coming on to talk about the game.
Which I thought I disliked her before, and I really dislike her now.
All the people that complain, I mean, Kendra made me money at the draft, and if Hardy didn't Riverside her during this whole process and talk down to her just because she doesn't have a penis, Women, I'm on your side with this whole thing. That's why I've pushed so hard to have more women on this show. And Hardy just keeps going, no. No one wants to hear these broads. And I say, Hardy, no one says broads. It's 2024.
Get out of my lane. Golf is my thing. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, he's like, get out of my lane. Who are you?
Situation this weekend.
Not a chance they get to that number.
Listen to that. Not a chance. Not a chance they get to that number. Oh, Kendra. I think she justified it. She's been right. If you followed her,
that's two big things she nails right there.
If you followed her on the PGA Tour and you followed her on the draft, you won money. That's all I got to say. And if you followed Liv Schatz during the NCAA tournament, you lost a great deal of money.
And if you pretend to not care like Fred likes to do, just as a reminder, Schauffele, 21 under par to win the PGA Championship. Bryson DeChambeau, who Kendra also liked, was the runner-up at 20 under par, and also a live guy. The other live guys didn't do as well.
All right. Okay. A quote. We have Danny Roche coming on, our good, loyal friend Danny Roche. We have him coming on, and I will tell you this, is that I have two things I want to talk to him about. A, now that the Bruins are done, there's so much time between NBA games, maybe we should have him talk a little bit about the Red Sox. But also, I will prove to you how I judge character with a quote about a local coach from one of his players that yours truly has seen through what some people in this room could not see through to the true character of someone. I will explain.
You're listening to Dutcher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Alrighty, Danny Roche is from WBZ TV. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Danny boy, hello.
Morning, fellas. How we doing?
Hi, Dan.
We're doing well. Now, Dan Roche is out at he's everywhere. When Hardy and I were invited by the Celtics to go to a playoff game against Cleveland, who's Danny Roche. He's standing out by the box. He's walking around. He's in a suit. He's at all these things. And you've covered Missoula now in his tenure as the coach of the Boston Celtics. Have you not, Danny?
Yes.
Okay. And Hardy has broke bread with the man.
Ooh.
And what have I always said about Missoula Hardy? And John, you can chime in too. What have I always said about Missoula? Not his coaching acumen, but as a person, his personality.
You don't like him?
No, you say he's weird.
Yeah.
He's a weirdo. He's a big weirdo.
It's a little strange, according to Fred.
Yeah, he's a really strange person. And Hardy went, no, he's not. Like, oh, I had lunch with him. Oh, he's so great.
Okay, I never said he wasn't weird, and it was dinner, and it was a delightful dinner.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, you should see him order for the table. He just takes command of that table like he does that locker room.
Which is not annoying.
You have proof, Fred, right? Now that.
Well, now I have the quote.
Yeah, I was there yesterday listening.
Yeah, so Dan was there.
All right, what?
Drew Holiday.
What?
Described Joe Mazzulla's style and method as craziness. And when he asked why he calls it that, Holiday said, because he's crazy. Anybody that knows Joe, you know he's crazy. I think it's a controlled madness. It's his way of preparing up and preparing himself. He's crazy. He's an insane person. I have made this point several times. I am the best judge of character in the history of mankind. I knew James Corden was a brick before anyone said it.
You nailed Eddie Money.
I nailed Eddie Money. I see through everyone. I predicted this Diddy video. I know everything.
Yeah.
Now, Danny Roche, he is insane, isn't he? With his little back and forth with Washburn. He's now listen, they win a championship, no one cares. But I'm not talking about his coaching acumen or how good a coach he is. His personality is very strange, is it not?
He's very different. Put it that way, Fred. So
yeah, crazy.
I don't mind different as long as you're, winning and doing what you're doing. I think as a player, I think it's great right now with this particular group. But I do think that they have to win a championship in order for that to last. Do you know what I mean? Because we see so often in professional sports, we see Parcells come in and he's the guy that gives them the hard-o type of attitude and what have you. And then Pete Carroll comes in after that. So it's just like those guys are good for a while. And as long as it's winning and his message is getting it through to them, then they all like it. And they all love it right now. They love everything about him. But yeah, he's different. He's very different with his, different characteristics. And he's just kind of odd. Some of the questions you ask, the answers he gives back, So he talked about Porzingis yesterday, and I followed up with how optimistic are you that, are you optimistic that he'll be back in this series? And he said, I'm optimistic about everything, a lot of things. And that was the answer. And then he moved on to another question.
Do you think his back?
Just,
okay,
you don't know.
He gets real weird with Washburn and almost tries Gary Washburn from the Globe, who covers the Celtics for a long time. He gets real weird with Washburn to the point where he kind of predicts what Washburn's going to ask him.
It's like a preemptive strike at some press conferences. Like, but the Celtics don't post up enough. Oh yeah, that's right. We just did that.
Yeah, he'll answer. He'll ask the question that Gary was going to ask him before he asks it, and then have the answer. Does that strike you as odd when he does things like that?
I actually had a conversation with Gary about that yesterday. I said, how many people do you stop and say to you, do you hate each other? Does he hate you? And he just started laughing. He goes, I get that question all the time. You know what I think it is also? I think it's respect in some ways too. I think Joe probably respects Gary because Gary's not afraid to come after him and come back at him with different questions and facts and things like that. And I think he enjoys that. I think he's just on a different level of, I don't know, basketball IQ, maybe the best way. And he looks at it as like he likes those challenges. It's almost like compared to Bill Belichick and Mike Reese. And, I think Mike has taken a lot of punishment over the years from Bill Belichick. But I think Mike also enjoys the challenge of trying to figure out Bill and trying to, not stop and get him questions. At the end of the day, I guarantee you Bill Belichick respects the heck out of Mike Reese.
Well, he obviously gives Reese a lot of stuff. I mean, there's no question about it. But there have been times where, I'm not comparing
it's been
Missoula
uncomfortable,
to Belichick.
Fred.
Yeah, Belichick was a few years ago. When Reese asked Belichick a question, he goes, "I don't know what you did in the to give your little preseason thing there." Like he was talking down to him in such a snide, condescending way, like just like a abusive way that I'm like, you're at it. Like I guarantee you, like people in Belichick's family were like, you're a dick. Like even the people closest to him were like, dude, that was like out of line. Like you were
the only thing that bothers me about that, and has bothered me about that at any profession or at any level, is and I think Missoula's done a great job this year adapting to different situations, and I think this group is ready for everything and anything. I think he's done a really good job. What I don't like is when I ask a question to somebody, or Mike Reese asks a question to somebody, and you get that type of remark back, the flippancy. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I've been at this a long time. I may not know all the X's and O's of the game, but I respect the game, and I'm looking for a TV soundbite that other people can relate to and understand on television. I don't need the ins and outs. And I think that's the only thing that I ever get upset is just don't treat me like I'm not a human being. That's the only part that I think
that's
like.
The different dynamic, though, between Missoula and Washburn, because Missoula is so young, and then Washburn is probably like Missoula might think maybe this guy does know as much basketball as I do, and if he's going to be questioning me, this is going to be a real threat to my position and authority.
I just think that, like, look, man, you're humiliated so much as a coach. If you don't win a championship, you lose your job. Like you're talking to other grown adults, like you can't talk to an adult, like talking down to him like that. I'm with Dan when like. You can, joke around or even insult someone, and especially if you're being funny, insult them all day.
Well, that's
the thing of you and Francona, right?
Yes,
and that's a good example. It's like Francona would crap on Dan all the time. Ortiz would crap on Dan all the time. Ortiz got sometimes a little prisony with it. Like he was gonna like make you his girlfriend and stuff.
But there was a smile. There was a smile attached to it.
But in all seriousness, Dan, when Francona would come after you, it was obvious you guys liked each other. You know what I'm saying? Like when I tease you, everyone knows we're boys, right, Danny?
Right, exactly. And that's the stuff. I don't mind that because with Tito, hey, we all ask dumb questions. I would ask Tito dumb questions, or I'd have a bad pregame and ask him stupid questions that I went back and looked at and said, why did I ask him this way and everything else? And he would yell at you and say, I said, I remember one time in Baltimore, do you want to do it again? He said, no. He goes, just get out of here. And then, I'm getting ready to go on to do our pregame show, and he punched me in the chest. Said, are we good? I said, yes. So it's like, it's like one of those things where you have that mutual respect. So I think Missoula respects Gary Washburn, no question about that in my mind. But I just think sometimes his methods are a little bit odd, put it that way. So, but we'll see. Like I said, with this group, it's been pretty fun to watch, and now we get to see them go against Indiana. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to everything, Fred, and I'm looking forward to the rebuild of the Bruins. I was there yesterday, and all the guys were really happy that they took another step forward. I know Hardy doesn't want to hear that, and everybody doesn't want to hear that, but I thought they saw a lot of things that they liked. They talked about Patra and Beecher and
what does that mean? What do you mean I don't want to hear that?
You're just sitting there. You didn't say anything.
What the hell?
He was listening earlier in the show. You heard
me say what? And you heard me say what?
Yeah, just that you don't like the Bruins, and you thought that they should blow it up and trade guys and not bring certain people back.
I don't know what you were listening to, but no.
There's no way Montgomery's gone. You were there. There's no way Montgomery's gone, right?
No, and I don't think so. And Charlie McAvoy went out of his way, and sort of Marchand, to credit the staff. It's not just Jim Montgomery, but the entire staff for the job that they did this year with this team. So I think that the players are extremely happy with Montgomery. And I the only question would be is, we've seen Harry Sinden years ago get kind of fickle in these situations where they don't live up to expectations, especially last year, and they only make it to the second round this year. Maybe that's that, but I don't know. Cam Neal, I'd be surprised if he got rid of Montgomery at this point and Sweeney at this point. But I think that, they have a lot of work to do with the players more than they do with the coaches.
This is the only thing I'll ask you about the Bruins. Did anyone say anything about why there's too many men on the ice penalties? Because that was really bizarre.
There's no excuse.
No, I think that'll probably go to Montgomery, and we have pressers with Sweeney, Neely, and Montgomery this week. That'll probably come up this week. But no, it wasn't brought up with the players. It was more like you guys are talking about, like Olmark and what do you do? And I think Olmark will be traded relatively soon, maybe in the next week or so, or after the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then they'll probably go with Swayman and the kid Brandon Bussey from Providence, and then they get cap space, and then they got to get some players in here. They got to get some centers. They got to get some first line, second line guys to go with what they have. And I think that they can build off that. You know,
have a bunch of cap room. By the way, that kid in Providence, no kid.
Bussey,
he's like 25 or 26. He's like 26 years old.
Yeah.
He's like 26, but he's
time
good
for him. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is that it's not time. And by the way, people that are thinking that they're going to get like a big return from Ullmark are out of their minds. Jaffe and I were talking about it. They might have to attach like a guy like Beecher just to get rid of him, and get nothing in return.
But Dan's right. I mean, they got to get this done before the draft. They have to get this done in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes, they have to get this done now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think what they have right now is, and no disrespect to a lot of guys, but I think they have Marchand, Pastrnak. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. And then a bunch of third line, fourth line guys.
That's about
that they need to get. You need to get help. I mean, Charlie Coyle.
Dave Pastrnak, Chara, Coyle, and Saka are basically the guys that are extended. And Marchand's done after next year. No, these are forwards he's talking about.
All right.
Yeah, Pastrnak, Marchand, Coyle, and Saka basically. So that's who's here for the long run. Yeah, they have a lot of money, and they're gonna have to. Yeah, they're gonna have to make big moves. They're gonna have to be big in free agency, and they're also going to have to make some hockey trades, which is going to be interesting to see. They can't.
Well, I'll be curious to see how Poitras comes back. Charlie McAvoy brought his name up yesterday. He was, as we know, was pretty intriguing. And again, you got to give these kids a year or two to get comfortable and get going. So I thought Beecher showed a lot of good signs as a third, fourth line guy. So I don't know. I don't know. I kind of look at it. I thought they went where they went. Maybe, winning that first round series was good for them, and it taught them a lot. And now I kind of look at them, and I like the core that they can build around and build off of. So I think they have a chance to be pretty good. I think Grizz needs a change of
he's gone.
Venue. He just needs a fresh start somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
So
why not?
I think
he can do whatever he wants.
Don't be like that about him. I like him a lot.
All right.
Oh, do you? You're good friends, you and Grizzly?
Yeah.
Is it because you're taller than him? Is that why you like him?
No, it's just, I show him respect, Fred, like we talked about with the coaches and everything. So don't talk down to Grizz.
You ever had, I apologize for that after our discussion. Have you ever had?
He's a human being, Fred. He's a human being.
His dad works on the bull gang at the Garden, right? Right, Danny?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
I never heard that story. Hey, Dan, good news or bad news that the Pacers or that the Celtics are playing the Pacers instead of the Knicks?
I would have preferred the Knicks, especially when Jalen Brunson fractured his hand yesterday. I would have preferred the Knicks because of their style. I think slows it down a little bit. You have the top two offenses in the game going at each other here, and it's going to be run and gun, which will be fun to watch. But you just wonder how tired the Celtics, if they extended in this series by the Pacers, how they will be going into the next round. That's it, though. I think the Celtics are still the best team in the NBA. And we'll find out in these next 2 rounds. But, I'm fine with the Pacers.
All right.
The Pacers, it should have been the Knicks. It would have been a lot more fun. This is the Pacers, and it's another snooze. But
and Hardy, DeChambeau, I thought, made the PGA Championship
it's
fun.
Too much. It's too much. It's too much already with the golf.
It was fun to watch. The Saturday and Sunday, Fred, were great.
It was a great weekend.
It's too much. All right, we have a very special surprise guest who just called in.
Oh.
And we will have him on in just a moment.
Oh, well, more special than Dan Roche?
Yeah.
No.
Great saying goodbye, Fred. Yeah, we have a special, more important guest calling in. Bye, Dan.
Dan.
I love you, Dan.
Dan, you've been on this show for a 15, 16, 17 minutes, and I've enjoyed every single one of them. Okay?
Love you, too. Yep.
Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
See you, Danny.
My good friend, Danny
Bye.
Roche. Thank you.
I do love you, Hardy. Hardy, you know that. I love you.
I love
well,
you
now
too.
you're cheapening it. You don't.
I like him very much.
Thank you. All right, Danny. WBC TV, everyone watch Dan Roche. Thank you, Danny.
See you, fellas.
All right, very good. An unexpected guest is called in on the hotline. We will tell you who that is in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics were at practice yesterday. They host Game 1 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow night. Kristaps Porzingis, a question mark. ESPN reported over the weekend he's more than likely out for Games 1 and 2. Celtics will host Indiana, who took care of the Knicks in Game 7 yesterday, 130 to 109. The Bruins cleaned out their lockers yesterday morning following a Game 6 loss to Florida Friday night. David Pastrnak left last night to join Czechia in the Hockey World Cup today. In golf, America's Anders Schauffele sank a 5-foot birdie putt on 18. He won his first ever major, the PGA Championship, by one shot. And the Red Sox won in St. Louis yesterday 11-3. They visit Tampa Bay tonight. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Roto-Rooter. Plumbing problems? Call Roto-Rooter. That's the name, and away go troubles down the drain. 1-800-GET-ROTO. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
This is why you need us.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Guys, we generally hear talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues. Today, I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. Think about it. You don't feel good about yourself. Perhaps you have a feeling your partner's disappointed in you. That makes you lash out. That can lead to arguments, even breakups. Northeast Men's Health can solve that. They have treatments that work when the pills or herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. Some treatments can even have you last an hour or more. Hachi-machi. Right, guys? They have 5 locations across the Northeast to serve you. You can call them today, 617-793-5000, or visit northeastmenshealth.com.
Tune into the Bruins Radio Network every game as we look back over 100 years of Bees hockey in celebration of their centennial season. Presented by another 100-year-old local business, Granite City Electric Supply, delivering materials to electrical contractors overnight throughout New England. Visit GCENightTrain.com to get on board the GCE Night Train.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Drive home major offers during the Major May sales event going on now at Ira Mazda. Get major return for your money on our entire inventory of top-notch new Mazdas all month long. Like the new 2024 Mazda CX-30, lease for $265 a month or get 0% APR financing or $1,721 off MSRP. Or a new 2024 Mazda CX-5, lease for $292 a month or finance at 0% APR with $802 off MSRP. Online at IRAMazda.com. New England drives Ira. For other details, call 781-226-2965.
So here, are you ready to take your lottery game to the next level? Now you can get Massachusetts lottery tickets right on your phone. Play anytime, anywhere with the Jackpocket lottery app. Jackpocket handles everything. They will check your tickets for every possible prize, notify you when you win, and you can collect your winnings instantly. Download Jackpocket and get your first lottery ticket for free with the promo code HUB. That's HUB. Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app.
18 or older, Jackpocket is not affiliated with and not an agent of the Massachusetts State Lottery. Please visit jackpocket.com/TOS for full terms of service. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-327-5050.
The pros know nobody beats FW Web. With extensive inventory, personalized service, and a fleet of trucks across the Northeast, FW Web supports all customers, from one-van contractors to large facility operators. For planned projects, emergency jobs, or maintenance, FW Web has what you need, when and where you need it. For plumbing, heating, HVAC, refrigeration, propane gas, and PVF jobs. With over 100 locations, visit FWWeb.com to find one near you.
Hi, I'm Eleanor from Nashua, New Hampshire, and I no longer need a cane thanks to Dr. Franke from Boston Prolotherapy in Stoneham, Mass. My knee was hurting me terribly, and the doctor told me I had osteoarthritis in my left knee and that it was going to become bone on bone, and I was in for some surgery, and it just progressively got worse. That's when my husband started investigating alternative medicines, and we ended up at Dr. Franke's office in Stoneham. Just the thought that he could do something with this knee that would take that kind of pain, it's excruciating pain, several visits, I'm done, and it's no pain.
Thanks, Eleanor. This is Felger. And thanks to Boston Prolotherapy, Eleanor retired her cane and is now back skiing, skating, and living her life pain-free. Eliminate your joint pain and call Boston Prolotherapy at 833-GO-PROLO or online at bostonprolotherapy.com.
This is Toby from Wendy's, and this is everything in our new loaded breakfast burrito. 2 fresh cracked eggs, 6 strips of bacon, seasoned breakfast potatoes, cheese sauce, tortilla. Whew, now that's a breakfast burrito.
Only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Hey, Maz here. Roadnizer Home Services wants to remind you to turn on your AC early to see if it's working properly. If not, it's time to call Roadnizer. Beat the rush and schedule today at roadnizer.com.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, and we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Sometimes you get a special treat that you were not expecting. During the Dan Roche interview, I get a little voice in my ear. We have a very special guest on the phone. I had not seen this gentleman since, Jesus. I haven't seen him since the Wilbur.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Brandon Meriweather, our good friend. Hello.
Wow.
What's up, man? What's up? Y'all all right?
I am, Brandon, I've never been better. The last time I saw you, I was newly single. I'm still pursuing that existence. Are you in town?
Yeah, I'm in town up here to play in the David Ortiz golf tournament. I figured, why not call my favorite people, man? So I called y'all.
Oh, Brandon. I mean, I follow you on Instagram. You don't reach out anymore, but that's okay.
I'll reach out because I really don't be on there like that. I go on there to watch people talk crap about each other, and then I get off. I don't really go on there like that.
That's probably a good idea.
That's wise. Now, I knew you were in town, Brandon, because I saw you tweet out on Friday, I think. You were trying to get on Granite Links on Saturday. Did anyone end up hooking you up?
They got me a tee time. I think he said he going to try for Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was told him that's perfect. But no, they didn't get me out that day. It was cold. It was cold that day anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Florida boy.
Yeah. Now, have you reached out to Wallach, Brandon?
No, where he at, man? That's what I hear. Listen, man. Everywhere I go, people keep coming up to me, asking me where he at. And I'm trying to figure out. I told Waldick, man, we got to get together, man. We got to do something.
We'll see what we can do. Brandon, how long are you in town for?
I'll be here till Thursday. I'm leaving Thursday.
We'll see what we can put together.
I want to get this together. Now, Brandon, what would you like to do? You're the guy who's coming in from out of town. What would you like? Where would you like to take John?
I don't know, man. A strip club.
All right.
Whichever strip club we could get to, you know, that would be hilarious.
When you were playing, was there a strip club that you frequented more than the others?
When I was playing, we went to Providence and went to Fox and Ladies a lot. You know, that's where we went.
Is that still open?
I heard it's trash now. That's just what I hear. I don't know for sure, but I heard it's trash now.
Now, when you went into Foxy Lady when you were a player, did the place shut down? Did they get crazy? Did the girls all congregate around you?
No. You know, I wasn't a big, you know, throw your money away type of guy. You know, I was more in there, find some, get some, you know, and leave some.
Yeah, because
you know, I wouldn't know.
Because you pull strippers out of the club, right? You're able to finesse them out of the club, right?
Yeah, Waldick is too.
Nah, well, listen. Do you know that John has told us that his fantasy is a girl with a big ass to smother him?
Right, make it so he can't breathe.
Man, cut it out.
No,
cut it out.
That's what Waldick likes.
Some of us like things more than other things, Brandon.
Hey, man, that's a good fantasy, man. But will he be able to get there after that, though, is the question.
That's a good point. What happens when you wake up?
I want this to become a thing, Brandon, because I started doing this after you called Wallach Waldick. I have done this a couple of times. When I play golf, I have written Waldick on my golf ball so I can identify. You know, a lot of guys playing Titleist, a lot of guys playing Callaway. So I write Waldick on my golf ball so when I'm looking for it, I can yell out, Waldick, where you at? And I did it. And somebody, Brandon, I'm totally serious.
This is totally a thing.
The first time I did it, Wallach was with me, and a guy on another hole found my ball. He looked at it, he looked up, and he said, "It says Waldick." So he knew what it was. He knew it was from you. That. It's gonna become a thing.
I hope so. Waldick, you need to trademark that, man. Make your own balls, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So, here is why I said, did Brandon pull girls out of the club, is because this is a totally honest story. When Brandon did a show with us at the Wilbur Theater, I don't know how long ago. It had to be within the last 2 years. And because I was single. And so Brandon and I go over to across the street to the Westin, which is a club during the evenings. And so we go and we sit down with some other people, and girls were literally posting up by Brandon. Girls we didn't know were posting up and sitting in a way so their ass was in Brandon's vicinity, within his line of sight, almost like peacocking for Brandon's benefit. I really haven't seen anything like it, Brandon. And I'm not positive they knew you were Brandon Meriweather. They were just that into it.
Yeah, they just liked him.
Nah, I'm sure they knew. We had just did that show. Everybody from that show came over there. I'm sure they knew. They was just trying to see what the hip game was like.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you end up with some that night, Brandon, if I may be so bold?
I ended up sleeping next to somebody that night, yes.
Oh, there you go. Brandon and I were working in concert. It was a magical thing to see.
So you're saying you helped him out that night?
No, Brandon helped me out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, Brandon.
That sounds more believable.
What you needed, no help.
Oh,
just
thank
to put that out there, you know.
But Brandon and I were we had we were talking in code. It was Brandon and I fell into a very natural rhythm.
Nice.
It was a very Brandon's the ultimate wingman. First of all, his runoff is spectacular. There's so many girls around him. There's so many girls that won Brandon, but if there's a group of 30 girls that won Brandon, there's perhaps one that would be all right, he's
you
with
could
Brandon.
Pick someone off from the edge of the herd.
Right, he's with Brandon.
Yeah,
maybe that's good enough.
Right.
And then Brandon was all right, dude, I got this. He's all right, let me do it.
Is that true, Brandon, all of this?
No, man. Everybody wanted Fred, and I was just having to be there with him. That's how it went, to be honest.
Yeah, Brandon, again, the ultimate wingman ever. No one believes you. Everyone knows I'm telling the truth. But that is the case. So do you know David Ortiz? How did you get involved in this David Ortiz tournament? That's a big deal.
One of my homeboys, Joe Logan, he called me and asked me did I want to play because I done got into this whole golf bug thing. So I was like, yeah, why not? I love Boston, so why not come up here?
Yeah, you don't come up enough.
I know, man, because y'all gave my job to this dude.
Okay, to Hardy, you wanted to do the mornings here for 5 days a week.
That sounds perfect for you, getting up at 5 every morning.
Yeah, Brandon was calling me constantly. Brandon was like, "Come on."
He's an early riser. I think he could have done it.
He's up now. I'll tell you that.
All right, Brandon. If golf falls through for you wherever you had it set up for whatever it was, Tuesday, Wednesday, well, reach out and you and I will go play, and then I'll drop you off at the strip club where you can meet Wallach. So I'll do golf with you during the day, and you can go to the strip club.
Why don't you come
Wallach.
along, Hardy? It'd be fun.
I'm busy that night.
I see.
I'd love to play golf. I'd love to play golf with Brandon during the day, whatever day you want.
And I would love to go to the strip club with Brandon.
Yeah.
So, whatever you want.
All right, let's go, man. Set it up, and we'll be there.
All right.
All right, Brandon.
All right,
good to talk to you.
Listen, Brandon, please, thank you so much for calling in. And if we can see you this week, I'd like to see you this week. So let me know.
I got you. We'll make something happen.
All right, Brandon. Thank you so much.
All right, Wall Dick. Let me holler at you, dog. You all right?
I'm good. Good to hear from you.
All right, bro. Y'all be good.
All right, Brandon. Thank you so much. There you go. The great Brandon Meriweather, a good friend. You should see. I'm not exaggerating anything. 30 might be an exaggeration, but there was at least 10 girls posting up on Brandon.
Really? What were the ages of these women? That's what I want to know.
Not old. I mean, I'd say late 20s would be the average.
I would
age.
think all ages would post up on Brandon.
Well, the club was not like people our age.
Okay.
The club was, people in their 20s.
Got it.
But like we came in, and then it was like obvious. I was like, it's funny because it's happened twice. After the Chip Chipperson thing I did, I was walking with Jim and Anthony from Opie and Anthony, and there was like this crowd of people like walking with us, and we walked into this bar, and I told the guy, I'm like, look, there's like 500 people, literally in this case, 500 people behind us. Like, I don't know what you want us to do, but if we stand in the bar area, there's gonna be 500 people pushing around. So they did seat us, and then with this thing with Brandon, I was like, hey, can we get a table? And they're like, no. And then Brandon came in, and they were like, yeah. Like, go sit at the table. And then when we sat at a table, and women were like, so there was this like a pole, like a armrest that was above us. So we're at this like two couches, and there's this like armrest in the bars on the other side of it. And these two girls sat like on the armrest. So their asses like were within inches of Brandon's face, and kept like turning around and smiling at him and going hello, and then moving their asses closer to him. It was really a scene.
Wow.
And then Brandon's like, "What you want me to say to this one?" He's like, "You just tell me when you want to leave. You just tell me. I'll take the friend. You just tell me who you just tell me what you want to do." Like Brandon was like, he's like, "What you want?" He's like, and I'm like, "All right, Brandon. God bless you."
Just the idea of having like 10 girls coming up to you at the same time. It's, just chalk it up to him leading a life with which I am unfamiliar. It's, I mean, has it ever approached anything like that? Have you ever had more than a girl trying to get your attention at the same time?
That it wasn't an event that like I was the star
Well,
of.
you're giving away T-shirts. Yeah.
No. Like if in terms of like just going up, well, obviously I've never gone to a place where it wasn't like, "Hi, I'm performing this evening," and had women come up to me. No, I don't have women come up to me anywhere. I don't have women come up to me and hit on me ever.
I know.
Do you know how hard my
know.
whole sense of humor has been out of necessity?
Right.
I have to immediately be funny, or I have no shot with women.
Yes, it's your charm.
I have to be charming.
Your charm and wit.
I don't act this way to women that I act on the radio. I'll put it that way. I have a whole other persona that I put on. The radio persona. This would not work.
So I'm deadly serious about getting out and playing golf with Brandon if he wants to, but I would really like Wallach to go to the Jiggly Room with him too.
He absolutely could.
Wallach?
I mean, it's been threatened for years.
It's been threatened for years.
So why not? Why don't you go do it?
If you join us, I'll go.
Why do I? He didn't
Because
ask
I
me.
think
He
it's
wants
a
to go
show
with you.
outing.
He wants to go with you.
Yeah, he
well,
does.
Listen, he does want to go with Wallach.
He does.
He desperately does, and he really does want to go with Wallach. It's
Yes.
not for the radio.
Why don't you go do that?
Why not? It's not illegal. I mean,
No, it's
go have
not.
some
And
fun.
by the way, the Foxy is now closed, I believe.
Yeah.
You have to find another place.
Down in Providence.
I never got to because Mo Vaughn left, and then so they had nothing
no
left to
more
do.
wings they could sell.
Right. All right. So we'll be back. We have a news story that you need to hear.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Oh. By the way, I heard promos. I got an email that there were promos for the old show running this weekend.
Oh, really?
During the national broadcast.
Huh.
So maybe we could clean that up. I didn't want to be a dick and, like, text our boss, but
Yeah, put somebody on blast. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's what I do every day. Well, at 8:20, a new bit, putting you on blast. I put you on blast, and I give a nice chunk of change to charity. We'll let you know all about it. Because that's what I like to do.
So your scheduled rant is we're gonna.
Then I give a chunk of change to charity.
I understand what you're saying.
If you listen to me, I'll give you a chunk of change to charity.
It's not listen, it's follow.
All right. Here's the deal: is that there's so much going on in the world right now that it needs to be covered. I mean, there's wars and everything else. So, Hardy, what do we got?
We interrupt this program for breaking news. Newsflash!
All right, Hardy, what is coming up? You tell me.
Well, there was a portal, Fred. Now, some people thought this was an actual portal, but essentially what it was a live stream, and it kind of embedded in a sculpture.
Yes,
that allowed...
like a little, some kind of cherub urinating in a fountain?
No, it was like a spherical sculpture, but it was like looking into a window. And when you looked into that window in New York, you saw people in Dublin looking back at you and vice versa. So people were able to kind of like look at each other and interact with each other. And believe it or not, due to the charm and wit of both the denizens of New York City and those of Dublin, things did not go well.
Oh, yes, I've heard some of these stories.
Yes.
I wonder what could go wrong.
What could go
public
wrong?
art project in the middle of two cities where people are constantly on drugs. Here we go.
All right, this is why we cannot have nice things. There are some controversies surrounding the brand new art exhibit that connects the Big Apple to Dublin.
This is sad to hear. The 24/7 live stream portal was just installed last week in the Flatiron District. And as Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini reports, there's already been some bad behavior reported there.
The portal here in Flatiron will take you to Dublin, Ireland. Although many are describing it as interesting, those behind it say there are a few troublemakers.
New Yorkers have been terrific. I mean, we've had a lot of showing of support, people coming here each day.
While most of it has been about fun and connection, there are some issues documented on social media, like this, for example.
There's been some nudity, and that ruins it for everyone. And so we're working closely with the portal team.
No, I can assure you that doesn't ruin it for anyone. That the nudity is...
That's the only reason why I would look at that thing. Oh.
I mean, if you walked by that portal and there was a naked person of any sex, that would probably... That's a story you'll remember for the rest of your life. Hey, kids, there was an art installation. I was in the Flatiron District. We were going to see Cats on Broadway. Me and your grandfather. And we walked by this, and wouldn't you know it, a man who had never groomed, just as naked as a jaybird right in front of me. An acorn in a sea of hay. Just alerting to me. I mean, it will improve relations between the two countries.
Some nudity, and that ruins it for everyone. And so we're working closely with the portal team and the team in Ireland, the city council in Ireland, to figure out ways to make sure that we can continue to show this. There's a few. We've had a couple incidents for sure, but I'm actually really encouraged and proud of New York City thus far.
And the plans are for this installation to be in place here for the next 6 months.
All right. Well, people, I also heard there was a guy that was out in front of it just playing hardcore porn. Just he had like a thing of hardcore pornography.
Well,
going the whole time.
So there was the baring of breasts. There was somebody who mooned somebody from the other side, and then somebody in Dublin, I believe, held up a photo of the towers during 9/11, which not as funny or as carefree as the baring of breasts or the mooning.
Well, now that the weather's warmer, there should be lots of shoeless feet.
Yeah. So
am I right or am I wrong?
So they did close it, but apparently yesterday they reopened, and they said now everyone's going to behave themselves.
Who could have foreseen this? Did you ever? You grew up in Michigan. Did you ever have people in your neighborhood that had stone statues of or fountains?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you, John? That probably did not happen in Lexington.
No,
not a very ethnic area.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that Lexington's not a very ethnic area, that it's a pretty homogenized white area.
Diverse.
No. Yeah, see,
No.
in the Detroit metropolitan area, which, quite honestly, Hardy was very much on the fringes of.
Yeah, he was on a dirt road off in the middle of nowhere,
he
right?
was like in a very rural area.
Sure, I understand.
He's like Kid Rock country, basically. It's like the New South.
Yeah, the Kid Rock was like one school district over from ours.
Which shows you his street cred, as he pretended to be a rapper for so long. He was from like 89 Mile. So, but there were people in my neighborhood, and it was the greatest thing.
Straight out the trailer. You mean the trailer that sat on your father's car dealership lot?
Yeah, his father had car dealerships. It was not exact. He was like the Ernie Bach of Greater Detroit.
That's perfect. Yes.
So Ernie Bach struggles with financially. So we would have these people in the neighborhood, and I was always interested in the cherub. It would be like it's a cherub is what it is, like cherub rock. You know, like the guys with during Valentine's Day, they'll be flying around with the arrow and things like that, except it would be the cherub exposed, holding himself, urinating.
Yeah.
And the water would be constantly streaming from the cherub into a fountain, and it was placed outside their home in full view of everyone, as if, you know what this house needs? A fat little person peeing.
Right.
Because and then
which is okay because it is supposed to be Cupid or some other cherub-like creature. Don't think of it as a nude little boy. No. Don't think of it that way. It's mystical. It's whimsical.
Well, I could see like Peter Dinklage having like a Game of Thrones one. What if you just had, and the guy from Seinfeld that was with Kramer on the double date, what if you just had statues of famous little people? Yeah, Nicky from Seinfeld. Mickey from Seinfeld.
Peter Dinklage and Mickey in the front yard.
Yeah, like if you just said
Peter at each other.
Peter Dinklage and Mickey from Seinfeld crossing streams.
Like a contest. Right. Yeah. I got it.
But how is that? I'm sure it's like based in some kind of mythology, or it's like some kind of like it's.
I think it's kind of lost on the people looking at it by now. I don't think anyone's. Oh, that's clearly Greek mythology. I don't think anyone's staring at it, looking at it, and go, of course that's what he was trying to do.
It's just like in general, it's just like, I like the pee.
Yeah.
Like, can you give me a fountain where it pees?
It's more like that.
We're building the house, sir. Like, we're thinking about landscaping. We could put a rose bush over here. Good. Yeah, and we think that if we had hedges, it could kind of prevent people from seeing into the lawn. Why would we want people not seeing the lawn? I'm moving in a 8-foot statue of peeing.
Let's show it all.
Well, not everyone might want to see the toddler urinating.
No, it's a cherub peeing.
But not everyone immediately identifies him as.
No, it's constant pee, never stops. It just pees.
You understand? That?
Every day, all night, I wake up for work. I come outside, it's peeing. Look at it, pee. And all the pee collects in the fountain. And then it goes around and back in and out again. Perpetual motion.
Maybe we could just turn it off at times so it's not always.
No, 24 hours, 7 days a week at the pee. Oddly enough, my Spanish teacher, she was not of Spanish descent, but she could speak many languages. A brilliant woman. But her house, where I went to get tutored for Spanish, had a urinating cherub in front of it, as well as many, many others. But like a lot of white statues, I would say not all that classy, but that's me. But
spend a tremendous amount of money on those statues.
I bet you that those statues like those dumb Yadro clowns my ex-father-in-law used to have.
What clowns?
Yadro clowns.
What's Yadro clown?
Oh, you don't know about this?
No, tell the story real quick. It'll take 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay, my ex-father-in-law, I went to his house the first time, and he's like real rich, right? And
yeah.
And he owned a bunch of McDonald's. I open up his office to talk to him, and it's like being nailed over the head by clowns. So these porcelain clowns. It's a Yadro company. And then when he moved into his new house, he had a built-in put in with individual lights to shine on the Yadro clowns. So you look at Yadro clowns and they're like, oh, that's garbage. It's trash. But what it really was is that they are all worth a tremendous amount of money. Like he had probably north of $100,000 in Yadro clowns in his house. Easily. If not several $100,000 in Yadro clowns in his house.
So that's the Yadro clown story. I can't get the Peter Dinklage peeing on someone's lawn thing out of my head now.
Yes, there's a dragon
thing ever.
Watch out for the dragon. You're taking a pee. You're very vulnerable. The dragon lady is going to attack you. Peter Dinklage is taking a pee. Look at it. Danny DeVito is over here taking a pee. This is Danny DeVito from Down in Beverly Hills peeing. This is Danny DeVito from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest peeing. This is Danny DeVito from Twins peeing. I have him from his entire catalog.
Taxi peeing.
Yeah, this is him behind this. Is Judd Hirsch is going, don't pee, and he's going, I'm peeing
on you.
How about a full size Mickey from Seinfeld peeing with Kramer hulking over him, admonishing him for peeing out in the yard?
Or perhaps he's still upset at him for taking his jaundice thing.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. All right, Bob Beers with a end of the season, a post-mortem of the Bruins coming up in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy.
It's Suction and Hardy. Bob Beers, our good friend, is Bruins color analyst for the 98.5 The Sports Hub Bruins Radio Network, who's in between period ideas I would listen to and then steal the next day on our show.
To make you sound smart.
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Steal Beersy's analysis. It's a time-honored tradition. I've done it, too.
And it would be funny because I would say something he said to one of the other analysts, or writers, and they would go, I don't know. And I go, well, Beers said it. And then they go, oh.
Ooh, all right.
All right. Yeah,
That's
all right. Yeah, I guess maybe it's right.
That makes sense.
He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Mr. Beers, hello, sir.
Good morning. You guys are way too kind. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you agree with what Brad Marchand said, that based on preseason expectations, that the team, if not overachieved, was just about where they should be?
I mean, as a player, right, you have your own expectations, and, you know, that expectation is to go all the way and win a cup. I mean, that's what you play the season for. And so they probably had higher expectations than maybe some of us did, really. I mean, I thought they would fight for a playoff spot, and it ended up being comfortably in a playoff spot. So, I mean, second place in the division I think that was pretty impressive for them. And not only that, but I think just the way that all the new faces that they had. I mean, they brought in some veteran guys who certainly did a good job throughout the season at different times, but they also incorporated a lot of young faces into their lineup. You know, guys that when the season started, you might not have expected to see in their lineup. So I think that's encouraging. And I think it's encouraging moving forward that these younger players got a taste of the playoffs and got a taste of what it's all about. And you know, they can raise their own expectations, their internal expectations, you know, starting next year.
So this is one of the things we've been talking about today, because now everything is under the microscope, Bob. I mean, and Montgomery is one of them. Do you think if Cassidy were still running this team, that those younger players would have gotten the same looks and the same experience that they got under Montgomery here in this postseason?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think we've seen some younger players flourish under Jim Montgomery, but you can't discount the success that Cassidy had either, right? I mean, he had a lot of success with this team and the organization. They made the move to go the other way because, you know, they thought that they needed to have somebody kind of be a little bit more patient with some of the younger players. That's not easy to do during a season when you're trying to win games. You're in the business to win, not to develop, but you have to develop as well. You know, it used to be, okay, American Hockey League, you're developed, and then when you finally get up here, you're ready to go. And that's still partly the case, but, you know, there is some developing and really coaching up certain players that they want to get into the lineup now. You know, you look at a Beecher, you know, a lot of raw talent there, you know, still a ways to go in terms of, you know, learning the game and learning how he can be effective on a nightly basis. Mason Lohrei's another one. You know, I'm leaving guys out, but those two jump off the page to me in terms of they're going to be here. Now it's a matter of taking that next step, and I think Jim Montgomery's been pretty good at working with them, but at the same time, you know, those guys have been up and down during the season. You know, there were times where they needed some more seasoning in the American Hockey League.
Yeah.
You know, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think, you know, based on all this, that Jim Montgomery, his job is safe?
Oh, I do. I think he did I mean, he was coach of the year last year, but don't you think it was more? I think it was more challenging this year.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys agree or not.
I think he should keep his job, absolutely. But I mean, there are people saying, yeah.
No, I don't. He had to coach. It wasn't like last year was just easy, but it was easier than this year. There are a lot of new faces in the lineup this year. Look at all the new. You know, they brought in a ton of veteran guys. Some of them, you know, continued to play. Some of them were scratches towards the end, but there was a lot of veteran players that they brought in, a lot of new faces. You'd lose guys that you lost off the roster last year, and you still come up with, I don't know what the final number was, 109 points? That's pretty impressive. Your goaltending keeps you in a lot of games, gives you a chance to win a lot of games, but he had to do a lot more coaching this year, and I think, you know, I think he had more of a challenge this year than last year. I mean, the challenge last year was the expectations were so high, and they fell, brutally short. We know that. But this year, I think he did a really good job behind the bench there and in the locker room.
Now that we're on to the off season, Bob.
Too many men on the ice things need to change, but
Yeah. All right.
Let's talk about that.
Let's discuss this.
Let's talk
All right.
about that.
I never played hockey at any level. So too many men on the ice. It happened in an unprecedented amount of time in only 2 rounds.
A record time.
7.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, and only 2 rounds, by the way. Like, there's other teams that, Stanley Cup Finals. And
13 games, 7 times.
All right. How does that usually happen in hockey? Too many men on the ice, and why, in your opinion, did it happen? Well, and by the way, your reactions to it,
Bob, we played those over and over. How frustrated you were by the end of it.
And another.
Oh yeah.
You're like, I could say you wanted to say the F word so bad.
What did I say? I can't even remember.
No, you're just like, it's just the way you said it. You're like,
God.
You're like, and there's another too many men on the ice. Oh God. Like another.
It was a little frustrating.
All right. Yeah. So as a player, obviously you're lined up. You know who you're coming in for. Take us through how this happens and who's to blame. Take us through the whole process.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a few different ways it can go, and I'm sure that they're all a little bit different. There's the off chance that the coach doesn't have you prepared, or is making a last second change in his head. And calling somebody else's name, and maybe somebody doesn't hear him, or somebody that was going didn't hear him. I think more often than not, it's on the player. It's somebody that's going to the bench on a line change. Maybe the puck doesn't get deep, or the puck ends up near the bench, and instead of going off, he plays the puck, but somebody's already hopped on for him. Does that make sense for you? It's like and that's player error. You want to get on the ice. You want to, you're jumping for that guy. All of a sudden the puck's coming. You're going to play it, but the guy's not off the ice yet. So there's a few different scenarios, and if we went back and broke down each one of them, there'd probably different scenarios in each of them. So I know that Jim Montgomery took a lot of the blame for it, but I can tell you that it's more often than not it's player error, and it's nothing that it's not confusion. I guess that's the wrong word. It's just you want to jump out there and play the puck because it's coming to the bench, but you got to wait till your guy's off the ice. And there were a few different scenarios during those 7. It wasn't just one thing, but that was really frustrating to see.
So what was the most consistently frustrating thing about the Bruins, maybe in this past series or in the postseason? I've got a couple, but one specifically from this series. I'm just wondering if there was one thing game to game that they didn't seem to be able to solve when it came to Florida.
Well, it was Florida's forecheck. I thought that they did solve it at times. I thought they were better at it at times. We talked a lot about Judd and I talked a lot about unforced errors. You're going to make mistakes. That's the game. That's part of the game. You can live with some mistakes as long as it's you're not making the same ones, right? But you're going to get forced into errors, and if you have the puck on your stick a lot, it's going to happen. But for me, it was the unforced errors. I mean, how many icings they took, especially in the third period the other night. It's a close game. It's 1-1, and you're icing the puck, and you're not under a lot of pressure. You're throwing the puck hard up the ice. And there were too many of those for my liking. And then Barkov was winning every faceoff in the third period the other day in the offensive zone. The Bruins were winning off offensive zone faceoffs of their own, but I thought the unforced mistakes, and that's what I thought last year as well. And I thought guys were squeezing their sticks in pressure times, and that stood out to me. I don't know what you guys thought or what some of the points you guys had, but that stood out to me a few times during the Florida series, especially.
I'm wondering what you thought, because I wasn't used to seeing this guy struggle. What your evaluation of Charlie McAvoy was in this series? I expected more out of him, and he seemed to underachieve a little bit, at least from my eye.
Well, yeah, he's catching a lot of heat, right? But he's a really good player. Did he play up to his capabilities in all 6 games? No. But he did a lot of good things as well for you. I mean, Game 5, he stepped up, goal and assist. He was a beast in that game. He threw a few big hits throughout the series. I don't think it's as bad as some people were making it out to be honest with you. There were games or times here and there that I thought he could have been better, but overall, he's further down the list for me in terms of why they lost that series. I think they lost to a better team.
All right. Yeah.
I think McAvoy having to play 25, 26 minutes against a really good team, I think that it's going to wear on you. It's going to wear on you as the series goes on. And there were times where he was really good, and there were times where I'm sure he would have liked to have been better.
What about Jake DeBrusk, his future? He's an unrestricted free agent. He's going to make a lot of money. What do you think the team's on him? Where he stands?
That's a great question. Swayman's restricted, so you expect that one to get done. The unrestricted part's going to be a tough one for Jake DeBrusk. I don't know how much you pay him. He was really good in the playoffs for most of it. He had a bit of an up and down regular season. We know what he's capable of. We know how effective he can be. It's just you got to put a number on it, and that's where I'm a little lost right now, and what that number is, and what's fair for him, and what he might get on the open market. So. I don't have a good answer for you there, and I apologize for that.
Would you sign him to whatever he's 6 years, 7 years? He wants a long-term contract, and considering how wildly inconsistent he can be offensively at times, if you're the Bruins, you're in charge. Would you lock him in for long-term like that?
Well, it depends on what the number is. I would certainly look at long-term, but because he's pretty durable. I think he's a valuable player even when he's not scoring, but ultimately you want him to score because he's capable of it. So he does a lot of good things for you that might not show up on the score sheet. I value him pretty highly, but at the same time, if he's going to have 19 goals, you got to look at that number too, right? I think that's what he had this past season, if I'm not mistaken. But you also have to look at his playoff and how he plays there and how he elevates his game in big games. He's done that throughout the playoffs, I think, for the Bruins. So it's going to depend on the number. And what he's going to ask for. He'll get it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I think his value is pretty high around the league.
Yeah. All right. So they're all saying what their injuries were at the end of the season. What's the worst you were able to tell the media? And is it like a huge relief? Or you're like, hey, a-holes. Guess what I was playing with? You were taking shots.
I'm not this bad. I had this problem.
Yeah, what's the worst injury you got to tell people you had?
Well, I think my season, it was pretty obvious how my season ended my rookie year. I had a broken femur. So, and I broke it in the conference finals against the Washington Capitals. So I didn't have to explain anything.
Right.
That was the worst one I ever went through.
Do you think Marchand gets any pushback for saying that he kind of wasn't fully honest about how he felt in order to get back out there for Game 6?
I honestly didn't really hear that. I don't know. I didn't hear the quote. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, he just said.
I'm on vacation mode, guys. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. All he said basically, Bob, was he's like, yeah, I wasn't totally honest with how I felt because I wanted to get back out there, and he.
Yeah, that's a head injury, so that's probably that's a little dicey.
Yeah,
that's a little dicey, but he's never. I don't think he's too concerned about what he says, right?
No, he's been great. I mean, he's like an old man. He's just like saying whatever comes to his head. All right, Bob. All right, where are you headed now? How do you make now? Is the real tanning season? You're tan all season in the winter in Winnipeg. Now comes the real tanning season. What are you up to now?
Expecting a good week. I'm actually on my way to the Cape for a charity golf tournament. I was hoping not to be able to play in it. Hoping to be coming back from Florida. No, I was hoping to be coming back from Florida today.
Yeah, I know.
But now I'm looking forward to it. So we got a good day and tournament for the Genesis Fund down at the Cape.
All right.
Nice.
Bob Beer is a charitable man, philanthropic, always tan. Bobby, great job this year. We appreciate you coming on, and we will talk to you in the future. We look forward to it.
Guys, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Look forward to it.
All right, enjoy the off season. There you go. Our friend Bob Beers.
First of many rounds of golf coming up.
But beyond that, it's really the tan.
Yes.
Because I don't think he artificially tans. I think that he is a man who is he finds a way in Winnipeg.
And that's what gives Brickley the unfair advantage.
Because, well, Brickley's orange, again.
Yeah, no, he's an orange man, and Bob can't hope to pass that because Bob's all natural.
But that's got to be tough for Bob because you constantly have to eat. Because I think he wears a hat on the golf course. I'm trying to remember. The only time I play with him is at the station tournament. But you got to keep taking the hat off, Fred, so you get the forehead and everything.
I'm telling you, the two things do not align. Like his golf thing is whatever. That's every athlete. That's every the old guy. What he's doing is really committing to the sun. I'm telling you, he travels with a sun lamp, and then he sits in his room.
And I'm telling you, the two are directly related. If you're going to be out in the sun for 4 or 5 hours, you can't have part of your head and face covered if you want that all over savage tan.
Yeah.
You gotta keep removing the hat periodically.
Well, I will tell you, I will go with the person who every year I see him at Pucks and Paddles. I go, Jesus Christ, it's April and you're George Hamilton here.
It's impressive.
So I'll go with him.
Yep.
And not so much what you say, what he says. You know who the national media tends to like?
Oh boy,
the New York Knickerbockers.
No, I
know how I kept telling you that.
Yes.
I consume an awful lot of sports media. I'll tell you, I do. And they seem to enjoy the Knickerbockers.
It's a darn shame they got eliminated yesterday.
It is actually a shame they got eliminated because it would have been a lot of fun if it would have been a sweep probably, but at least it would have been fun. And there would have been a lot of people coming into town and stuff. Now it's just
all the hand wringing. Oh my goodness, my team is in there.
Now
you watch the Knicks; they're going to be great.
Now it's just Indiana. Now it's just Indiana, and now they're going to kill Indiana, and it's just boring. But look, they could lose a game or two. Who knows? But if it was the Knicks, the Knicks would take over the Garden, and then there would be fighting and fights in the stands.
Be some juice.
And there would be the national media, and maybe they would have to use the stations. That would be fun. But it is not to be. But there was not before. Stephen A. Smith could talk before the game yesterday.
Well, made an appearance.
I saw it as well. We will have that for you in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics will host Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow night at TD Garden. ESPN reports Kristaps Porzingis will miss at least the first couple of games of the series. The team wasn't giving the media any answers yesterday at practice. Yesterday, Indiana beat the Knicks in Game 7, 130-109. They will come to TD Garden tomorrow night to begin the best of 7. Bruins players cleaned out their lockers yesterday following a Game 6 loss to Florida to end their season on Friday night. David Pastrnak got on a plane last night and flew back to his home country to represent Czechia in the Hockey World Cup. At the PGA Championship, American Xander Schauffele is your winner. He won by one shot after sinking a birdie putt on 18. And the Red Sox won in St. Louis yesterday, 11-3. They visit Tampa Bay tonight. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Bridgewater State University. Complete your bachelor's degree at your pace and on your schedule with Bridgewater State University's high-quality online degree programs. Learn more at bridgew.edu/CCS. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
Toucher and Hardy Show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. I think we all wish the Celtics were playing the Knicks. Look, if this is a good series with Indiana, it's a good series with Indiana. If they win a championship, they win a championship. That's fantastic. I know Tony Maz said that it does. Much to everyone's chagrin, they did not like it. They got very angry at Tony Maserati. He said that this championship would not mean as much because the ones that are harder to get mean more, and people get freaked out. And listen, if you're a Celtics fan and they win a championship, that's fun. It's fun to go to the games. But so far, this playoff for the Celtics is a snooze. And it's not. And if you're saying like, oh, well, all you do is crap all over the Celtics and all you do is this and that, sure. But everyone's saying it. I heard Michelle Beadle say it. Who this weekend? It might have been Cerrone Battle and Leroy. It was someone this weekend. It might have been Joe Murray, but it was someone was playing a clip of who's the woman that the guy said to hit on him at the Game On? Rachel Nichols. It might have been Rachel Nichols talking about how this was boring. Like, that it was boring. Now, if they played the Knicks, they would have killed them because the Knicks are all beat up and everything and exhausted, and that's why Indiana.
You saw it at yesterday.
Yeah,
I mean, they couldn't. There were guys that just couldn't finish.
Yeah, what's his face who was hurt was just
Brunson was hurt.
Yeah, but Anunoby, the guy that was
OG Anunoby
and Anunoby who came back, he had first of all a cast on his leg.
Yeah,
he
had a brace, a huge brace.
Yeah, I know.
The size of what our own Mike Lockhart is dragging around. He's trying to run up and down the floor.
Yeah, it was a little sad. But nonetheless, it would have brought some juice. And ESPN and rightly so, has given Hardy, Stephen A. Smith a lot of credit of him being a Knicks fan.
Yeah, well, Stephen A. Smith is certainly not tried to hide anything about it, but you would think if you were the network, maybe you would try and still put out some kind of, reasonable appearance that things are unbiased.
Right.
Okay?
Tyrese Halliburton will be playing in his first ever winner-take-all Game 7. Can the Pacers gut out what they haven't this series? A win in MSG. Well, if this man is in the building.
Do you know who that man is?
I do.
Walking down the concourse, Stephen A. Smith.
Yep.
On camera as if he were a player or a coach as he enters the building.
Dressed with the cool cream. We are counting you down to tip off on ABC.
He looks all serious. He's walking like he's going to go suit up and play.
What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
I mean, just pretend. Pretend there's another team. Pretend that the Knicks are actually playing somebody.
This is why the Knicks Celtics would have been so great.
I know.
Just the over-the-top enthusiasm. And it's funny because everyone's producer, I don't care if you're doing sports radio in Omaha, your producer's a Knicks fan. It's some kid from Long Island that desperately wants a job in sports talk radio. Everyone's producer is a Knicks fan. And so I turned on ABC, and I want to see what's doing with this Knicks-Pacers thing. And it's the beginning of the game, and it's Stephen A. Smith on the court, and he is with Spike Lee.
Well, see, I don't have to rise New York to the occasion, because they all here. Everybody's ready. Ignore Bob Myers, Mr. California. Ignore Will Bard, Mr. Chicago. They ain't here right now. You understand what's at stake. It's been since 2000 that we've been in the conference finals. We've waited 24 years for this moment right here. OG Anunoby is back. Josh Hart's going to play. When you talk about Game 7, it comes down to grinding. It comes down to guts. It comes down to who would have been. Come up in here. Come up in here, Spike Lee. You come right here right now.
And Spike Lee is so small. I mean, it's really like we were just talking about Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage would tower over Spike Lee. I mean, Spike Lee is never given credit for overcoming him and Danny DeVito.
Yep.
Big stars, despite. I mean, would I tell you that he's waist high to Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith is 5'8". He's waist high to him. He has an imprint of Stephen A.
Tiny.
Yes, can you? I mean, it was Stephen A. Smith did not mean to take Spike Lee's hat off, but he he had an itch on his hip. So by scratching his hip, he just knocked off Spike Lee's hat.
Sure.
Well, it's like when you're trying to hug a 3-year-old and it doesn't really quite, it's like, come here, my boy. Come here, son. And it's like, it's tough. Unless he jumps into your arms, it's difficult because he's a little guy. So he's trying to grab him around the shoulders.
If
he knocks his hat off, he knocks his silly glasses off.
If I hug Spike Lee, my balls are hitting him in the head. Let's be honest. And I'm not a gargantuanly sized man.
This really does suck. It would have been fun for the media aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think it also would have been more fun to beat up on that Knicks team. I don't know that you're going to be able to beat up on the Pacers to the same extent.
They score way too much. Yeah,
I think the Celtics win, but this is much more of a series.
Yeah.
And there's no Porzingis for the first 2 games, but, I mean, does it even matter against
But that's
Indiana?
the thing. These are the top 2. Unlike what we would have gotten against the Knicks, which was 100-95, now you're going to get 125, 120 games. These are
against the Knicks, it would have been...
top 2 scoring teams in the NBA during the regular season are playing each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. The difference is the Celtics' defense is a lot better.
It would have been the games against the Knicks. Let's be fair, would have been 98-75.
Yes,
98-75.
Okay.
You made a 5-point game. If you think the Celtics were
with
only winning by
Brunson
5
hurt,
points,
and DiVincenzo was limping at the end, and OG Anunoby wasn't going to play.
Joe Murray put out a bet. DiVincenzo with the block. Someone sent it to him, but DiVincenzo with a block. He's done it. He only needs 1 block. He's done it 7 out of 8 games.
Yeah,
no block.
Come right here. It's orange and blue skies, baby. This is what it's all about right here. This is what we've been waiting for right here. It's Game 7. This is what it's about.
It's Spike Lee. Here he is, Academy Award guy. He's this cultural icon, and he's having his head rubbed, and his hair tousled. He's being really just pushed around by Stephen A. Smith.
It's not dignified.
No, it was not dignified, and it was every Spike Lee's one life. Yeah. If there was a competition on Better Lives between Stephen A. Smith and Spike Lee's won that contest. But just because he's so diminutive, he's being really pushed around there, and you can tell Spike Lee says, "I don't like this at all. That's why I cast only little people." You know Spike Lee's father, Wizard of Oz. That's how he got into the film industry.
I see.
No.
He was not an Oompa Loompa?
No.
I don't think that's right. I think that's incorrect information.
He wasn't a stand-in on the Seinfeld on the set of that sitcom?
He was, but then he got caught heightening, and then
absolutely
and got kicked off.
Did you see that blonde one that wanted to date with him?
Yeah, not bad. She's cute.
No doubt about it.
She's frisky.
Too showy for you, though, because she was in showbiz?
Well, and the hair was awfully big.
She had a little bit of an attitude, too.
Yeah, she did.
You don't care for that, Hardy. Hardy, if you don't know, in his past, before he married his beautiful wife, dated a little person for 3 years.
Not aware of that.
I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
But they were engaged, but she took off.
Huh. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Get that! Stephen, they gonna knock him out. The New York Knicks, it's about grinding. It's about guts. It's about heart.
You said that already.
Yeah. It's about what game.
He's running out of steam.
This is what it's about. This is what we waited for right here. 1 game, 48 minutes.
Spike Lee's, by the way, there. And you just hear this murmuring in the background as he's being tousled around his face and Stephen A. Smith's belly. Just being like,
get this guy away from me.
Exactly.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Why are you doing this to me?
Get the cameras and this guy away from me.
I thought you were interviewing me, but all you're doing is jostling me around.
I've had courtside seats for 3 decades. They've been losing all this time. And now they're winning, and I got to deal with this?
Yeah, I'm the reason Indiana won the last time.
By the way, Spike Lee, a 67-year-old man. So take it easy. Hey, I'm a little frail.
You know what I'll say?
Quit manhandling me.
Hey, make room. Everyone, make room. This is going to be funny. You know what I'll say? How about you do the right thing? Never mind.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. Yeah, baby. Home run, Freddie T.
Woo.
Oh, look at them asses, Spike.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you look so small to me, so big, so those asses.
Whoosh, we go.
All those butts, Spike. Look at them.
So BU comes out on top with us.
Look at you. You're so lucky, Spike Lee. You're aha to all those fans. Spike Lee, to get a good look at that fanny, you don't even have to bend down.
Horny all hours of the day.
You'll naturally bump it in the butts at the
I'm talking
bank.
about your legs. Look at Natasha.
Spike Lee at McDonald's, you just have to stand in line to get a good look at that booty.
Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies. That is what it's all about, Bob.
Will Garner, Game 7. I'm going back to my seat.
Is this equal time?
Spike Lee had to say, please get me back to my seat. I want to go back.
We like to get it on.
And by the way, thank you for continuing sending me clips. We will get to them one day. Of Stephen A. Smith, he's really leading into this whole horny thing. Like he's very sexual, man.
I do like some a big booty. I ain't gonna lie about that.
Look at Peggy, 69.
Excuse me?
Ladies.
Look at Peggy, 69.
Sure, I don't think.
And what's funny is he's like Peggy 69, like it's cute, and he's like 60. It's like she's not that much older than you.
know.
Yes.
Yes.
Peggy's well within your range, sir.
Look at Peggy. Look at her. 2 years older than me.
Yes.
Cute.
Yes. Yes. Look at Nancy.
Look at Nancy with the booty.
Look at Nancy.
All right. We will return. The Boston Bruins have some questions to answer. 617-779-0985. A lot of money off the books. A lot of decisions to be made. We will get to that in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub, the Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics are back at practice yesterday with Game 1 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals coming up at TD Garden tomorrow night. Kristaps Porzingis was seen riding a stationary bike at the Auerbach Center, and the team refused to talk about his possible availability moving forward. ESPN reported over the weekend he's more than likely out in Games 1 and 2. The Celtics also found out who their opponent's going to be, and it's Indiana, who upset the Knicks at Madison Square Garden in Game 7 yesterday, 130-109, out west of defending champions. Knocked out in round 2. Minnesota won in Denver in Game 7 last night, 98-90. They'll play Dallas next. The Bruins cleaned out their collective lockers yesterday morning following a Game 6 loss to Florida Friday night. Charlie McAvoy's season ended earlier than he thought.
It's tough, you're right. It's never easy. A lot of processing, just, a lot of different emotions that you feel. You always hate when the ride's over. You wish you were still playing.
David Pastrnak left last night to join Czechia in the Hockey World Cup today. Edmonton, by the way, tonight visits Vancouver in a Game 7 with the winner getting Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. In golf news, American Xander Schauffele sank a 5-foot birdie putt on 18 to win his first ever major, the PGA Championship, by one shot over Bryson DeChambeau. And Rafael Devers homered for a 5th straight day. The Red Sox snapped a 4-game losing streak with an 11-3 win in St. Louis. They visit Tampa Bay tonight. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Power up your comfort at home with a new portable generator, a high-efficiency water heater, or an electric vehicle charger from Rodenheiser. Visit Rodenheiser.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Hold everything 98.5 The Sports Hub has to offer in the palm of your hand.
I need that.
Listen live. Get breaking news.
I need it.
Download the Sports Hub app. Now, more Tuncher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, and you can watch us on YouTube. Oh, God. Oh, please, Lord, watch us on YouTube. Could you please search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and subscribe? Subscribe. Okay?
Okay.
How many subscribers do we have? You been on YouTube today, Hardy?
Yeah, I said good morning like 3 hours.
So we had a dozen people at 6.
We had 90 people at 6 a.m. We have 568 right now.
Woof.
Woo! Woo!
That's,
Gets up to about 700 when Kendra's sitting here.
Yeah. All right. Dave says, I met Spike Lee at a club in New York City a while ago. I don't remember him being abnormally short. Well, I don't know what kind of club you were in. I mean, there are conventions where Spike Lee would be the tallest person there.
So Stephen A. Smith is 6'1", and in that video, he appears to be 7 inches taller than Spike Lee.
Oh, no. A foot taller than Spike Lee. He seems to be more than a foot taller than Spike Lee. He seems to be like Spike Lee comes up to his belt.
It says 5'6"
Oh, yeah. All right, come on. Let's get out of here. 5'6" is a normal height. Spike Lee's a little guy.
No, 5'6" is short for a man. 5'10" is like the average.
No. I think 5'7" is the average.
No, you're out of your mind.
I think 5'7" is the average height for a man.
I was led to believe that's. I think Fred's right about that.
You're right, John. You stay with that thought.
The average height for American men is 5 feet 9 inches.
All right, split the difference. You're saying it as if you achieved something. I said 5'7", you said 5'10". You were
global average height for males, 5'7.5".
Thank you for throwing that in.
Hey,
that gave Freddie a little kiss.
But you're very.
There's one back to you.
You're very U.S. centric, and you don't look at things outside of.
I am a xenophobe if there ever was one. I don't care
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
I don't care for any of these, or xenophobe, however you want to pronounce it.
Either way,
I'm so not that I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's how not it I am. All right, so here we are. The Boston Bruins season is over. And listen, Jack Van Priest called in earlier, like 617-779-0985. I am disappointed as anyone, but like now that I've had 2 days to digest it, look, if the game ended at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday and I came in here Friday morning, I'd be all upset at 6 o'clock and then I would have calmed down by 10. That's generally how it goes. But I've had 2 days to like digest it. Florida's better. Now, let's investigate how Florida's better. I learned this yesterday. I was listening to Matt McCarthy. And Florida put their team together. Like, they got Kachuk. They got Dirty Von Hiddenstein. Bennett from a trade. They traded, and they made bold moves. They traded a 110-point guy to get Kachuk, and they built themselves to win in the playoffs. That's how the team is built. And we have learned now, especially 2 years ago, that the postseason hockey, let's face it's different. And it's different in that having two good goaltenders throughout a regular season is fantastic, but it means nothing come the playoffs. That argument's over. Even people that know way more about hockey that argued that was a thing, it's not a thing. No. Anyone who was arguing that Swayman was the goaltender, it was right. Swayman is the goaltender. Now they got to get rid of Ullmark. Now, here's the one thing I will disagree about the Met. Go ahead.
Okay, so two things. Number one, the two goaltender thing, yeah, it's nice in the regular season, but it's not even necessary. All you have to do is make the playoffs. So
that's my point.
Yeah,
you're building a team to win in the playoffs, not win in the regular season.
And there was nothing wrong with Ullmark. In the one game that he played, he was fine. That just shows how ridiculous a notion it was to think that you somehow were going to be better served by rotating goalies throughout the playoffs. Once you identified that Swayman was just a tick or two better, you stuck with him and you never went away from him.
Well, they should have never traded for Ullmark in the first place. And what's evidenced by it is going to be this offseason. One thing I will say for Matt McCarthy, as I give him all this credit, is that they were talking on the show about the return for Linus Ullmark and the idea that like they were throwing around a first-round pick. I got news for you. Not only are they not getting a first-round pick for Linus Ullmark, they're going to trade him for nothing, and they're going to have to throw someone in on the trade. I was talking to Jaffe about this. They might have to attach Beecher to a deal, like someone like Beecher, a young like depth forward.
It's such a weird thing with goalies, man. They don't get anything.
They don't get
return.
anything in return. And then also when you're dealing from a point of weakness, and also he's got that dumb no trade clause, which I've heard rumors that he is more. Well, I mean, he turned down the trade at the deadline, but you could make the argument. Fluta Shinzawa wrote about it. Look, I don't want to move my kids out of school. It's the last minute. Like, I don't want to leave my family. Fair enough. How times have changed. And good for the players having that right. I'm being serious. But now it's the off season. There's that, not that excuse, but I have heard, and I don't know if I heard it on these airwaves or somewhere else, that, I mean, like Ullmark very well could just go, no, I don't want to get traded to any of these teams on my no trade list. I'm not going to allow it because I know you got to pay me $5 million next year. I know you got to play me because if you're paying me $5 million, you're going to have me play, and that my value will be just as high next offseason as it was this season.
Yeah, it's just to do it for one more year, because the only other thing I would argue against if you're Linus Ullmark is, don't you want to go somewhere and play and not be the cuck come playoff time and just sit there watching?
Well, just for the bottom line, if you're only interested in making money too, I think it might be in your best interest to go somewhere, play well, and then get a deal. I mean, he's 30 years old. Like, go play well and get your last contract.
And hopefully make the playoffs somewhere and show other teams that you are the choice goaltender in a playoff series.
That's the thing. If you're a goalkeeper, and he's only a goaltender, he's only 30.
Right.
I mean, he has a 5-year contract left in
that's
him.
Right. He's got one last big deal.
If you're going to get more money if you go play somewhere else as opposed to sitting for an entire season, which is what he's going to do. Swayman's going to get the bulk of the starts next year.
Yeah.
Whether or not this guy just won.
They're moving Linus Ullmark.
Yeah.
They're going to move him.
They have to.
But the thing is that they could get more for him if they take, like, Edmonton's on his no trade list. Like, it is. He doesn't want to play in Edmonton.
Sure, right.
He's European. He doesn't want to be on the Western. First of all, he probably doesn't want to be out West because it's further from Europe. He certainly doesn't want to play in Canada because of the financial repercussions. So, and he doesn't want to be in Edmonton. So, wow, Edmonton's a good team, Fred. I don't think that particularly matters to Omar. It doesn't sound like it to me. I mean, he wanted to stay here to keep his kids in school, so that's his priority. That's fantastic. It's not like he was like this alpha that said, I want to prove myself. I'm going to go here and shove it in your faces. No, he wanted to keep his kids in school, which is perfectly great. They should be his number one priority. But the idea that they're going to trade him and somehow get something in return is a fool's errand.
See, I don't understand that. It looks like the NHL is treating goaltenders in general as kind of like specialists, like Major League Baseball teams judge closers. Oh, you could just get a closer anywhere. Like, I don't think that's true. I think you need to have a great goaltender to go somewhere, and you can't pick one up off the street.
How about this? I think you need a great kicker to go somewhere.
Fine.
But I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So even equate them to kickers. I mean, how many times a kicker cost you?
Yes.
Ask the Vikings about the
Patriots about drafting that kid in the fourth round.
Ask the Patriots if they didn't have
Vinatieri or
Gostowski. Well, they didn't have Vinatieri. None of this ever happened.
Right, and Gostowski was almost as good, which is really saying something.
All right, that's another conversation for another time. But I like it, John. Save that for our summer Rolodex.
Okay,
topics.
very good.
But yeah, so he's gone, but you're going to have to attach someone to him, and you're not going to get anything back from him. Now here's the question. Shattenkirk gone. Grizzly gone. Forbert gone. They're all gone, right? No doubt about it. Riemsdyk's gone. There's no question about that. Patrick Maroon is, it's 36. If he wants to play for the league minimum and you feel like keeping him around for the playoffs, I guess. Danton Heinen gone. Jake DeBrusk. Here's what worries me about Jake DeBrusk is that Jake DeBrusk is going to make a lot of money, and Jake DeBrusk is going to want a lot of years. They always do this. They tend to keep their own guys. They've done it with DeBrusk before, but it was a show-me contract.
Yeah.
This one he's going to want like a long-term big deal. And I just don't know why you keep the gang together at this point. You have all this money opening up. Just change the makeup of this team a little bit.
I don't want DeBrusk back here, not for the money he's going to want. He's going to want more money than he just made, and he's going to want a longer-term contract. And Bob Beers is right. Someone is going to sign him to that contract, but he is so wildly inconsistent. I almost don't care about, he saw some work on the PK. He does all the little things.
It's the inconsistency.
I don't want that here anymore.
I can't live with it.
I want listen, he was good at the end of the playoffs. I want guys set up for these occasions. I want playoff hockey. I want guys to win in the playoffs. How about you get a center that can win a faceoff? That might be a start. You get what Beers talked about it. Get a center that can win a faceoff. But big changes. They got a lot of money. They're going to dump Ullmark. That frees up $5 million more. They have money. They have no picks.
Maybe pick up one more defenseman that can clear the puck out of the zone. Stuff like that.
I mean, you could trade. I mean, you could trade a guy like Brandon Carlo. You're opening yourself up. You're going to have a lot of openings on defense. But if you want to get picks back and you want to do something, that's the kind of move you're going to have to make. Go ahead.
I was just saying, Ty Anderson is very much in the bring back Jake DeBrusk category. He tweeted this out.
Day of dinner or something?
Super polarizing player to many, but I still think he's a value add. He's developed some strong PK work. That's what I was talking about. He can play anywhere in the top 6 or 9. He's still good for 20 to 25 goals a year when he's healthy.
Okay, stop now. First 6 or 9, he's going to get paid a lot of money.
Yeah. He's going to get paid like a top 6 forward.
I like Jake DeBrusk. He's a good guy, and he's a good hockey player who's going to make a lot of money. I'm not saying that, but for this particular Bruins team, first of all, they haven't won anything with him. You got to make some subtle changes here. He's good on the PK. You can't find a forward.
You're telling me there's no other player in the National Hockey League that's a free agent that can't do what Jake DeBrusk does and is more consistent for the same money or less? There's nobody else out there. Nobody.
And don't you
think locker room guy?
And we don't do this often, but don't you think there is a little bit of value to like changing things up a little bit? Like that core of players that you've had is not winning. Like change things up a little bit. Like look at McAvoy's here. You're not getting rid of Lindholm. You're not. Marchand's here. Pasternak's here. Coyle's here. I mean, I would love it if you could trade Zacha because he won playoff goal in his career.
That's enough to keep. That's enough to maintain. Some of the success that you had this past year.
You have your core. You have a core of 4 or 5 guys.
And you got Swayman. Yes, good, fine.
Yeah, and then now let's change things up a little bit.
Right. I'm with you.
And you have money to do it.
By the way, DeBrusk explained his injury.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a rough regular season. I was dealing with some injuries. Broke my hand probably right before bye week, so I missed a game, actually. Didn't really heal probably until about a week out of playoffs, so I knew my playoffs were going to be better.
Broken hand.
You're saying because you had a broken hand, that's why you were inconsistent offensively? I'm thinking with 2 good hands, that wouldn't have changed things much.
Wow.
I still think you would have gone a month between goals. We've seen it before.
I like the guy, and
he's a nice guy.
And I want him to make money. And look, he wants to live in Edmonton anyway. You know it, and I know it. He does. Yeah. He wants to live in Edmonton. That's where he bought a house, and then he got fleeced on the thing. He ended up getting screwed.
That. Yeah, him telling that story.
Yeah, he's got
something else.
Listen, the guy played Fortnite with my son. I appreciate it. But he's got to go make his money somewhere else. And he wants to play in Canada. Let him play in Canada. Let him have his fun.
Let him sign for 6 years and $36 million somewhere else.
Oh, boy, yeah.
I mean, that's the ballpark of what we're talking about.
Can't do it.
You want to do 6
like
years and $36 million for Jake DeBrusk?
That's Brad Marchand money.
Even 6 years, $30 million. I mean, it's a lot of money for a guy like that.
Yeah.
Who may or may not score 20 for you.
Yeah. I mean, then he's making more than Carlo. Then he's making Coyle money. Coyle and him both making $5 million, and I like Coyle, but Coyle should be your third line center. I don't need 2. What if your third line? What if your third line was Coyle and DeBrusk? It was north of $10 million. Two players. Two players in your third line.
$10 million they're playing. They're your 7th and 8th forwards.
Oh boy. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We'll do our award-winning email segment. So send in your emails.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hunt.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Everyone loves the email bit. It's the best. Are you a fan?
I do like it. I like it a lot. I like this email I got here from Joe. Hey, Fred, remember when the skipper left Gilligan and had a ton of success on his own? Remember all the great success Oscar Madison had without Felix Unger? I don't know what he's talking about. He also said, did you watch the Fury-Usyk fight? It was everything heavyweight boxing should be. Two guys just punching each other. I think Fury ended up with a broken nose and Usyk with a broken jaw. Nice to see a fight where punches are thrown. Pacers in 6, eat that wall, Dick. Bad matchup. Pacers play a lot like Golden State did. Love the show.
Yeah,
that's Joe from Saugus.
Well, hopefully this is a series. I mean, hopefully that. But I did see Fury is fat, which I thought was exciting.
I don't know from heavyweight boxing these days, and I understand this was an important bout. We talked with Chris Mannix when he was on his way over
the title for the first time in 24 years.
Yep, Saudi Arabia to watch it, and it was like a big deal, so I get all that, but I didn't know that Tyson Fury was husky.
6'9", 280.
Husky.
When he puts his hands in the air, he's got a little jingle. He's got like flubber.
Yeah.
Has he always been this fat, Jonathan?
Not fat, no. He's not overweight. He was a little bit bigger this time around than I ever remember him.
Yeah, because call me when Logan Paul and Mike Tyson put the gloves on.
Sure.
That's when you get me. Me and the 50 billion people watching. And the one where a convicted rapist is the good guy. That is the one that everyone's talking about. Which I always just... When people talk about it, and I mean, who am I? Like, I hope Tyson kind of wins too.
Oh yeah,
just for old people everywhere. Like
he keeps posting these videos, where he's beating up on guys with mitts, holding the target.
Well, he's beating on an 80-year-old guy with mitts.
I know. But that's all you see.
No, Tyson's gonna lose the fight because if it's a real fight, Tyson's gonna lose. I mean, he's 30 years older than the kid he's fighting, and the kid he's fighting is not. A boxer, but he boxes for a living.
I know, but you give Tyson that little slimmer. He's got that psycho gene that's so necessary in this sport.
Yeah, does he have the psycho gene or the give up gene? The guy smokes weed like literally constantly every day. I mean, he's in his 50s. I find it very difficult.
I watched him take it much more seriously than Roy Jones did the last time he was in the ring. Jones was like, I got to stay away from this guy. He might actually do some damage. That wasn't too long ago. I think Tyson takes it.
How old is Tyson? Tyson's got to be way older than me. I'm 49. How old is Tyson?
He's older than you.
57.
Yeah, he's
57. He's fighting a 26-year-old kid.
No, I know. Hey, the guy's got a gray beard. He steps in the ring.
He's going to be 58 when he fights, by the way. We were talking about the houses in the neighborhood. John did not have them because he moved to a town that only allows white people in Lexington. That's why they made John wear toughskins, is because they wanted to hide his true identity. Some people changed their names at Ellis Island. John's parents made him wear toughskins to hide his religion.
This is how I hide. Give me the flame retardant jeans. That'll keep me safe.
And that's why they ignored your dental needs. They wanted you. Look, I got Invisalign in my mouth right now. Who's laughing?
Wow.
He wore his retainer.
Yep.
He's got it going. He goes, I moved to Worcester. The city park has a statue of the
Wallach
child
just
in the
smiled
turtle.
at me to show me his teeth. It was the most unsettling thing that's happened to me in months. He did like the full toothy smile and looked right at me.
I'm happy.
Good grief.
I smiled.
Oh.
You got a problem? Oh. I can't be negative like you all the time, Hardy. I can't be, like hating life all the time. I smiled. This is what happens.
That ain't me no more. I'm Mr. Chipper.
I can see that.
I think that the dynamic of the show has shifted, and now I'm a little ray of sunshine.
Wow. Yeah. I think we're going to have to shift it a little more for that to happen.
If you ask me, I come in here.
I see.
John says, morning, guys. No reason why I say this at all, but no reason why I say this, not at all, but Wallach is very good at headlines. Apparently, you're the best headline guy around.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. This from JJ. I would suffer through one bad season of the Bruins if they have any guys in Providence they could bring up and give them NHL experience. I don't think that's true. I don't think anyone would stand.
Yeah, maybe with all these no movement contracts, Ullmark, Lindholm, we should be pointing more fingers at Sweeney. He's trading for assigning these players to long-term deals that include no movement clauses, and not long into the deals, the team, everyone realizes they suck or aren't needed here. We needed you to get stuck listening to him talk about the quality over quantity. He's a clown. He makes good trades for active NHLers. We have not seen him, the ability, I don't know about young talent, but we have seen him develop, trade for NHL players. The Coyle trade was a good trade. He's done that.
Look, Sweeney made...
The Lindholm trade was a good trade.
Brilliant moves to stack his roster for not this season, last season. If you think about all the moves, the Bertuzzi trade, he loaded up. He had everybody in place last season, and we were praising him. Congratulations. The problem is you painted yourself into a corner. There's no way to escape this bear trap he's put this roster in because he's sold out for last year. And the roster he put together this year wasn't nearly as good as last season.
No, but it should be better next year. That's the thing, is that the roster should be better next year. They have a lot of money. They're going to have money to do stuff and a lot of holes to fill. But they can sign in this year, which is why they never – this is what – when they signed Ullmark, I said, why are you doing this? They have enough money to sign an elite free agent and then fill holes.
You have $21 million of cap room right now. If you somehow trade – or you let DeBrusk go, you trade Ullmark and don't take any salary back, then what's that, $32 million?
Yeah, $32 million worth of cap room.
And you have 6, 7, 8 spots to fill, but you have room there for signing a genuine bona fide superstar.
And by the way, you got you might keep Frederick for a little. You got Frederick and Geeky coming off next year. I mean, you got money opening up. Like, you have money coming off the books. Now, you're going to have to give Swayman some of it. So you could give Swayman a deal, sign an elite free agent, and fill the holes you need filled. You could be, on paper, a better team next year. But let's build for the playoffs this year instead of screwing around. No more regular season shenanigans. I can take a few more losses in the regular season. You be a 5 seed. It's okay. You be a 5 seed, and then you go in and you win. You build a tough, resilient team for the playoffs. Go ahead, Danny. What are you saying?
I sent you a quick text with some of the free agents that are out there. Ooh, Machi.
Yeah, I know.
40-year-olds, 41-year-olds.
No, but there are elite free agents this year. Believe me.
That guy Reinhardt's a free agent, I believe.
Sam Reinhart is a free agent.
Jake Gensel. Gensel scored 30. Yeah. I understand. You're not going to get a 24-year-old in his prime, but that's free agency in general. Most of those guys are locked up long term.
And if you want to win next year, I take a 32. To get a guy who's 30, give him a 4-year deal.
Reinhardt's 28. He scored 57 goals last season.
Right. I mean, there's guys available. There's guys that you can fill your roster.
You need to sign at least one center. That's for sure.
You need a guy who can win a face-off. That,
yeah,
my friends, would be an exciting thing if you had a guy who could win a face-off. That is something that I would enjoy. Yeah. All right. There you go. Listen, Hardy. It is something that everyone looks forward to every day. It is called The Stack.
We have another list, another album list. This one from Apple Music. I was going to almost say iTunes, but it is now Apple Music. And there's some obvious ones. Few surprises in what they're calling their best 100 albums that they have unveiled so far. So we'll get to those in a few minutes.
Absolutely. And I tell you, I finally saw this thing that Hardy loves so much, Baby Reindeer.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I got to the 4th episode. I go, no, I know why Hardy likes this. It's because...
It insists upon itself?
He sees the guy drugging the guy to take advantage of him. I'm like, that's why Hardy likes it so much.
Huh.
It's like a how-to for Hardy.
I wouldn't have pegged you for that.
Well, that's a bad way to say it. I'll tell you, everyone. I said this
right
earlier.
into that one, Waldick.
I saw
Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Don't try and help the joke because A, you're going to step in it, and B, what he's doing is unconscionable. He's being an unconscionable.
He's being a scamp.
No, it's really a distasteful ball breaking going on that's right now. You just leave it alone. You just ignore it.
But I will say this, and I stand by this, is that everyone's trying to find out who the stalker, and we know now who the stalker is.
Yeah.
There's someone I'm far more concerned by, and that's the man who drug and systematically violated the guy who wrote the true story. Like, all the woman's a crazy person, but at the end of the day, I mean, she scratched up his girlfriend a little bit, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is a real guy that we need off the streets. And then, so I immediately started trying to figure out who the guy is through the internet, and then people went, we think it's this one producer, television guy. He'd worked with the Baby Reindeer guy before, and he just happens to look exactly like the character on the show. And the guy who wrote Baby Reindeer, based on his life, that says at the beginning it's a true story. Don't stop worrying about who everyone in the story is. That's not the point of the show. Oh, it is. When someone's committing numerous felonies against you, that's of interest to me. You wrote a story, and he's brave. He has every right to do it. It's a nice piece of art. All these things are true. But if you're requesting me, just as myself, not to be interested in who the man having you come over to his house so he can drug you to the point of passing out to take advantage of you sexually, that is a problem. A man who should not be on the streets. If I may be so bold, Hardy, I don't mean to be so controversial this early in the morning. But I did see, but it is interesting watching it the way I have and going, oh boy, this stalker's a weird lady. I wonder who it is. And then you go, oh, dear Lord.
Now we need to know this other person.
This guy should be off the streets. I don't like the idea this guy's rubbing elbows with people. All right, so we will be back. I need to know this list. I love lists. You know me, guys.
It's list time.
I love them. All right, we'll have that for you in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics were out at practice yet.
A job creator. That's goodwill.org. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Oh, hey, everybody. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And I do love... I am having trouble, though. It is hard for me. I can't... I used to be able to watch, like if The Wire came out today, there's no way I could watch it.
Nope.
And people talk about kids and their phones and the kids, they never get off their phones and kids never get off their phones. My ability to concentrate is being completely thrown off. I can't even watch that Baby Reindeer show. It's the first show I've sat down and attempted to watch in forever. And I can't sit through it. And it's not bad. It has nothing. I can't even evaluate if a show's good or bad anymore. I can go to the movies. I have to remove myself from my home in order to concentrate on something. I still have the ability to do that. I'll listen to an audio. I have to walk my dog because it's a spaz all the time. And I'll listen to audiobooks while I'm doing it. And I can listen to the same audiobook twice. And it's like I'm hearing it for the first time the second time I listen to it.
Well, there's a lot more to consume. There's a lot more to I think, process when you're listening. I have trouble listening to audiobooks because I keep missing things. I go back and I'll listen to it again, like if I'm driving or anything. So I'm not
I can't listen to them in the car. Only when I'm walking that dog. And that dog does not take solid bowel movement.
Well, yeah, and this is one of your many, many shortcomings as a person and now as a dog owner. You should be paying attention to your dog, not having your attention elsewhere. You should be making a connection with your dog on these walks.
I know. And I've thought a lot about that, is that I really should have all my senses available to him.
You should be present. Oh, I always have to be distracted. I have to be listening to doing something. Just do the thing that you're doing when you're out there walking that dog. Just walk the dog. Be present, Fred. Be present.
See, you can say just walk the dog, and I take it as walking the dog. If you were Steven Tyler, I'd be like, you want me to masturbate?
No, I don't want you to masturbate.
Walking the dog. But you are right. You were like the Buddha. You're saying I should be more present.
I used to try and listen to something when I was like cutting the grass or out there doing yard work. And I said, no, I can focus my energies and attention and my mindfulness on the task at hand. I find it very calming.
This I was playing golf with Bob Brunson from WROR, who's about to get a big bump, by the way.
That was the one that you and I did not get invited to.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, golf outing on Saturday.
That's right.
So I did play golf with Bob Bronson, as I am friends with all my colleagues.
Yes.
Is it Bronson or Brunson? Because you've called him two different things, your good friend, in the last 30 seconds.
That's what he likes. He goes, play around with my name a little bit, have some fun with it. And so we're playing, and I'm in the woods. I'm not making a dad joke. I'm in the woods, and this other guy's in the woods looking for his ball, and he goes, "Hey, Fred," and I'm like, "Oh Jesus, what have I done to this guy?" Because sometimes that's what I think. I'm like, "Oh boy," because at that club, I'm like, "What did I do?" And he goes, "You're gonna bring Hardy out here?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Hardy." I'm like, "I don't know. He'd probably get pretty annoyed with me." And he goes, like, "What's Hardy like?" I go, "I like doing the show with him. It's fun." He goes, "Yeah, but what's he like?" I go, "He's like my friend's dads when I was growing up." I said, Hardy's like my friend. Hardy's a Midwestern father.
Interesting.
He is like my friend's dads growing up. That is exactly what Hardy is.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
It's not an insult. It's not at all an insult. But he is like, you remind me of a Midwestern father.
Okay.
You don't like the nonsense. You don't put up with it. You love to cut your lawn.
I do.
You love to play golf.
I do.
You love at-home projects.
I do. Yeah. I played yesterday with a guy who excused himself into the woods, not to tinkle, but he had to go. I said, "You're going to do what?" Oh. He said, I have to. I have to go right now. And he went and he did it. And
he took a dump in the woods?
And afterward, The guy who I was in a match with, he was playing a match against somebody else. We looked at each other and we're like, did you see where he went in the woods? Because we have to know never to go in there looking for a lost ball, at least until next season. That thing needs to go away. Like it should be.
Oh. That's sociopathic behavior.
That's crazy.
Was he wasted?
No. He may. I should know because I know him a little bit. Like I'm friendly enough with him to where I should know. He may have some kind of a IBS thing going on.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people have IBS, and it's very unfortunate. I don't think they're going to the bathroom in the woods. Did he bring toilet paper with him?
I did not see any.
Did he bury it at least? You're supposed to bury it in the woods.
I don't know.
No shaking hands with that guy.
No, but that's psychopathic behavior. That's really psychopathic behavior. You crap your pants. You get in the car and you go, I'm sorry, I'm having a medical situation. You crap your pants. You go to your car. You drive home with the duty in your pants. You go home, you throw away the pants, and then you go to the doctor.
Or how about you just drive back to the clubhouse?
No, but let's say he has IBS, and it's like something he can't control.
Right.
Very good. I understand. Not making fun of the guy. You still don't go in the woods.
Yeah.
You crap yourself. You go to the car. You don't go into the clubhouse. You go to the car. You drive home. You take the pants off. You throw them away. You take a shower. You call the doctor, and you go, I just crapped my pants. That's the chain of events.
Even on a Sunday? You call the doctor on a Sunday, or you wait till the next morning?
You go to the emergency room. I mean, if you really crapped your pants, you can't figure it out unless you're like super hungover. Have you done like
He wasn't.
Or you just did. You haven't crapped in 5 days. You just did a lot of coke. Some way or the other, there's no. Dude, even I swear to God, if I was with somebody that crapped in the woods, I'd either think this guy's the greatest. But I would definitely go, I wouldn't want him like alone with my children.
Oh, no. He's a great guy.
No, I know.
But it would.
But it would. I have a very high tolerance for like mischief.
Right.
That is really bumping my head against.
You know what's odd about the whole thing? After it happened, it wasn't really discussed.
It's all I would discuss. It's literally all I would discuss. Every time I'd see him, I'd call him Woodsy or the Crapper.
I like
Woodsy the Owl.
I like Woodsy.
You have some
good.
Poo-poo.
I like Woodsy. Pew-pew.
No, like
Woodsy.
I know.
Woodsy might stick.
I call him Smokey the Crapper.
Woodsy is great.
Smokey the Bowel Movement.
My friend Steve went to a wedding in Scotland.
I'm glad I know it was him.
This is years ago.
Yeah.
And he showed up, and it was at this, some castle, the friend of ours who was getting married, it was this very ornate wedding. And he flies over on the red eye, like everything's thrown out, so he hasn't gone. He said they have a big, heavy meal, for the welcome party that night. It's lamb, it's potatoes and everything.
Sure.
Still hasn't gone. The next morning, they're going to go out on a hike, right? And they start walking, and it's him and his friend and his friend's fiance, his bride-to-be, her parents. It's a very nice setting. They're about 100 yards through the pasture, and he says, I got to go. And they are too far for him to make it back to, the cottage, wherever they were staying. So he fakes a leg injury and tells me when he's like, I can't keep walking. I can't keep walking. And I'm like, oh, come on, we'll walk back with you. No, you guys you go ahead without me for a minute. It's just a cramp. I'll be able to get over it. He perches himself over a fallen log. And he waits until they're about 50, 60 yards walk. Are you sure? Yeah. I'll just catch up with you guys. And they're looking back at him like, what's wrong with you? No, just go. Just go without me. I'll be along in a minute. I don't want you to wait. He pulled his pants down just enough to hang his ass over the other side of the log and then let go of everything. From the night before, the day before they left on the red eye to get over to Edinburgh, everything just gone.
Oh, Edinburgh, that's the place where this all goes down.
And he's waving at him. He's like, I'll be better in a minute, as he's just getting rid of everything. But the image of him telling him, Leave me behind. I'm not really injured, but I just need a moment, then I'll catch up with you.
That happened on a show called This Fool. That's funny. He's on a hike with his chick, and she gave him dairy. I'm hurt. Peter, go ahead. Peter, go ahead. Hey.
I got a story about Zolak.
Yeah, okay.
I heard on the radio a couple of years ago. He might deny it, but he claimed to have never shot 18 holes without taking a crap in the woods one time.
Peter, I am going.
He might deny it, but I heard it. It's clear as day.
Zolak's been known to stretch the truth. I believe him on that one. There's no doubt about it. Judging by his habits here,
it's almost impossible to think he could go 4 or 5 hours without doing that.
Now, he's cleaned it up a little bit, but there was a time there where you couldn't go a week without seeing them nuts.
Yeah.
Dan, go ahead.
Early in my 20s, I was dating a girl for about a month, and we went for a hike, a very long hike up a mountain with a backpack of supplies. And she hit a point where she said, I can't believe I have to do this, but I need to go over there in the woods and take this toilet paper. And you know what I did? I put a ring on that girl's finger. And I don't even have a DA obsession. She didn't even step in it.
You married the woman because did she appreciate it to the point, like, did it give you an upper hand in the relationship at that point as she had been disgusting?
Yes, because she is way more attractive than I can get.
All
so
right, well,
maybe that was a situation.
Yeah. Congratulations, Dan. Congratulations on your marriage to the woods crapper.
Yeah. That's something you hold over that person's head, though, for the rest of your relationship.
I honestly would not marry a woman who did that in front of me.
Well, anytime you get in an argument or anything, it's like, well, at least I didn't crap in the woods, you animal.
I would not marry the woman. It's bad enough if they break wind.
We'll do the Apple Music Top 100 albums tomorrow. Well, this deserves some time.
All
So
right.
I asked Dan to pull some music, and he got it ready to go, and now he's upset.
No, I'm not. No, Hardy, stop.
Hardy!
I'm not upset. Look, I think they actually might be releasing another 10.
Oh, good.
Either tonight at midnight or tomorrow. So,
see?
What do we get to, like 30? I think it was 40 to 31.
Yeah, it's all the way up to 30.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's exciting, nonetheless.
That's very exciting.
All right. That'll do it for us.
Yep.
Scottie Z was just in here, but we'll see. He is here. So Scottie Z is here. Scott Solek, the Woods Crapper, is here. Woodsy the Dumper,
speaking of,
is here. And he will be doing his show. All right, everyone. That'll do it for us. We still have LeBron James audio for tomorrow and so much more. That'll do it for us. Bye.